Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you on this Friday night. Two active tornado warnings, or an active tornado warning, tornado watch update, as well as we continue to see storms stretching their way towards our area. This update will focus first on the active warnings, second on what we expect and when we expect them to be in your neck of the woods. Hutch's weather begins right now.
Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
All right, we're going to start with an update on the active warnings. There was a tornado warning that was reintroduced for Wells County. That storm has weakened a little bit, and the warning for that storm has been dropped as that's worked its way to the south and east. Look at this. Severe thunderstorm warning, though, in Wells County right now for a hail monster out there with that white core, a hail core. Upwards of 1 3/4 inch diameter hail remains possible through Harvey, Fessenden, Goodrich, all areas in and around Wells County, Hertzfield, Cathay, Bowdoin, Sykeston, Manfred, all these areas under the gun from a very large thunderstorm complex here that's working its way to the south and east. By the way, that storm is moving at 28 miles per hour as it moves to the south and east. That's the main event. We had a little bit of thunderstorm activity forming in Stutsman County. We'll keep your eyes on that, but as far as right now goes, not the main event. A new tornado warning has been issued for the Bismarck area and Linton, where we do have a report of a funnel cloud that was reported by the public as this storm worked its way through. So let me move this over here. Now, this was from the fire department, a funnel cloud located 5 miles west-southwest of Temvik. This was at 10:06, so just a little bit ago. That storm moving in towards Linton, you can actually see that V notch that we've been talking about tonight and a little bit of a curl there, and it's moving right in the general direction of Linton. So as we take a look at the single site radar data here, this is a dangerous storm. Seek shelter in that interior room, get away from windows, and make sure you're on the lowest floor possible. Alexander, we'll get to your questions. Cheryl, thanks for joining me. Braden, thank you for watching as well. And I got to tell you what, Anthony, I appreciate you. And MH, do you think these would still be severe by the time they reach Fargo? That's the $24,000 question. We're going to get right to it. But first, Bismarck, we got another tornado warning for you in effect, but this time it's right in town. So let's go to the Bismarck radar right now. Tornado warning in effect for Bismarck until 11 o'clock. A 10-mile-per-hour creepy crawler working its way across the metro area right now. Now, this one, just like the last one, was moving out of Oliver County, and it's sneaking down to the south and east. There's your rotating part of the storm, moving through where the hail hit from the last storm that made its way through. If you are in Bismarck, the northern metro area, all the way out towards Menoken and Lincoln, you are in the direct path of this dangerous tornadic thunderstorm. Now, this warning from the National Weather Service, by the way, is for the storm moving only at 10 miles per hour. And how about this? Observed tornado and 2.5-inch diameter hail. Are you kidding me? We don't need any of that. And it's not far from the area of town. So basically, Mandan, you're sneaking out of this one. You had the baseball hail size last time. Now this one's making its way in towards northern Bismarck and eastern Bismarck as we work its way through. Now let's go and take a look here at what's going on with regards to the velocity in this storm. So you can clearly see, wow, one velocity couplet that looks just like a couple of eyeballs next to each other. Motion toward the radar in Bismarck and motion away from the radar in Bismarck right here as that storm is moving south and east. So that's where the rotating part of the storm is. It's right on Highway 85 and 83 rather. It's an observed tornado on the ground, and it's strong, folks. That strong signature right there indicates that that rotation is pretty tight. Now, when we take a look at some of the other correlation things that we have here to see if there's any debris, what I'd look for here is areas of blue in and around the area where the rotation is. Is it there? Yes, it is. Now let's take a look and see if we see some target differences. It would be red in the same area, and there's just a little bit there. It's not a real clear definition of a tornado debris signature, but indeed a dangerous storm right now over the top of Highway 83 in North Bismarck is going on right now. So that's what we have. Again, the rotating part of the storm making its way right through the northern metro area. It's an observed tornado, 2.5-inch diameter hail, and only 10 miles per hour. We'll put the rotating part of the storm right now. I'm going to cheat a little bit on the south side of the storm to give you a little bit more time to prepare, and I'll speed it up just a pinch as well. But if you are in north parts of Bismarck, Menoken, and these areas, that's it. It's basically going to hit the northern reach. Look at this. If it keeps on its path right here, it would be on the, well, here's the interstate expressway. So as you go off on the expressway exit, the service station there, sirens going off 8 miles north of Bismarck. Thank you, Denise. Seek shelter, get out of things like campers and tents. If you're camping along the river valley here tonight, just a dangerous night of volatile weather. And this one snuck in on the heels of the last storm. Sometimes when one storm moves through an area, it messes up the air mass and it doesn't allow for the next storm to have the same amount of energy. But that's not the case with this one. Bismarck-Mandan tornado warning in effect for you. Linton, let's get down at the velocity for this. And you can clearly see motion toward the radar here and away from the radar, just north of town in Linton. That's where the rotation is with this one. This one had a confirmed funnel cloud that was reported near Temvik. This system here, this tornado and tornado warning storm, has 2.5-inch diameter hail threat, and it's moving right near Linton right now as the crow flies. Let's measure this puppy here for you. It looks like from Linton, it's right 2 miles. So you need to be in your storm shelter in Linton right now. This is a dangerous storm with tight rotation. It's moving off to the east. It's going to cross very close to town and on the north side of Highway 13 there from this particular storm warning. Let me go ahead and click on this and turn my line off. Now, let's go back to a look at the speed of movement. Only 8 miles per hour. That's not a good sign. Now, it's a slow movement there, keeps that rotating core very close to the town of Linton at this time. So keep in mind, if you're in this area and it's only moving at 8 miles per hour, it isn't going to make too much progress. Linton is the main area of risk and threat from that particular tornado warned storm south of Hazleton in Emmons County, North Dakota, a cluster of storms heading in and around the Bismarck area. By the way, as we take you in now and look at the latest single site radar data, you can see the hail core with this one, just like the last one, staying in north parts of town. The northern metro area and the Bismarck-Mandan area, whether it's Mandan or Bismarck and areas in just rural parts of North Bismarck, you've had 2 wallops of storms make their way over your area tonight. Look what's going on in Steele. You notice here that Burleigh County had a warning for a thunderstorm that was severe. That storm is now heading into southern parts of the Kidder County area, southwestern Kidder County. Is that one rotating? Let me go ahead and take a look at what's going on here, because things have really picked up a little bit. No, I don't see clear signs of, well, let me double check. That blue color can confuse you. That's incoming. That's incoming. I do want to point this out. I don't know why it went away. Let's try that again. 80 or 90 mile per hour incoming winds next to much slower incoming winds, still some shear. So if we were looking at the shear factor on that storm, there is some spin with that particular storm located in southwestern parts of the Kidder County area. As far as the Bismarck storm goes, there's some shear showing up in the markers there as well, but we showed you the rotation mainly by this northern triangle that you see right here, moving to the south and east. So a couple of active tornado warnings. Let's take a look at what's going on for our viewers in the Carrington area, Wells County, as well as the watch. Let's start with the watch. Okay. Oopsies. Okay, here is a look at the warnings that are in place right now, and here is a look at the watch that is in effect in the area. It's been trimmed off out west. In our last update, I told you that out west, the threat is pretty much done. They've dropped the watch out for that area. McLean County, you're done. I think Rugby and Pierce County is all but done. These storms are moving to the south and east. Jamestown, this storm picking up a little bit of intensity there in northern Stutzman County. What are you seeing? Make sure you check into hutchesweather.com if you have photos and the like. like to let me know what you are seeing. I'm checking that right now because I've heard my dingle bell go off a couple of times here. Okay, so we've got, oh, incredible. Okay, I shared this on my Facebook page, but if you're not watching there, let me share with you what was seen from the Bismarck area with the approaching storms from the Oliver County area just moments ago. Here we go. HutchesWeather.com. You go there, you press on the viewer picks button, and you'll be taken to this page and check this monster out. I mean, unbelievable. A towering supercell storm. And folks, when you get lightning wrapping around the outside of the storm like that and traveling, you may not realize how many miles this lightning bolt is traveling. It's miles and miles. So the lightning produced from these storms, not necessarily under where it's raining, it is happening up at cloud level. And I've seen some reach from the Mamatus cloud area all the way down the side of the storm. The storm could be done with its rain and hail and you think it's over, and then you're whacked by what we call a super bolt of lightning. We call it that because the intensity of the lightning is incredible. I got to thank Darren Gibbons for this awesome photo here and uploading it to HutchesWeather.com. Okay, so the watch, we've talked about it being rescinded out to the west, continues for our Stutzman County areas, continues for New Rockford, Carrington, Wells County, Benson County, Devil's Lake. What's going on? When will these storms work their way in towards the Grand Forks and Fargo area? Let's get to the latest there. Golly, everybody, thank you for your stars. Thanks for supporting Hutch. Northern Paul says, grabbing my football helmet from the garage. All right, there's some buckets of hail out there, and it's really, really large, and it's going through the storms out to the west here. 2.5 inch baseball size hail is 2 3/4 inch diameter hail out there. What's going on in Mackville? This is not the severe weather threat right in this area. I do think they added a couple counties to the tornado watch up here. So for Ramsey County, I believe they added you in as we go through the evening hours because a couple of these cells were drifting up in your general direction. Now, let's switch the radar to the Mayville radar. These storms look weak from Bismarck. Let me switch the radar view over to this one and see what's going on here in our neck of the woods. Okay, I'm going to try to keep these a little bit more short and then do more frequent updates right here on Hutch's Weather and HutchesWeather.com. These Stutzman County storms are picking up in intensity. I'm telling you, from Wimbledon all the way down towards Medina and Cleveland, we are seeing some strong storms here starting to fire up. Not as strong as what's between Fessenden and Bowdoin. Do you see that white color? That's not a good color. It's like my shirt, right? And that's very intense reflectivities from the Doppler radar. That storm moving into the Bowdoin area now, and Sykeston and Cathay and Fessenden is moving off to the southeast at 28 miles per hour. If you are in the path of this storm at 28 miles per hour, here's where this puppy's going to have the most bark, right here along this leading edge. That's the leading edge of the hail core right now. That's moving at 28 miles per hour. I'm going to put it at 31 because these scans come in about every 6 minutes. So I want to give you extra time to prepare. Cathay, storm there, 11:06. How about 10:47 or now for Bowdoin? See that? That's some big time hail. So Bowdoin, north of town, some of those crops out there are likely going to take some big time lumps from this storm. And again, Sykeston down towards Carrington, 11:10 to 11:34 for the ETA in Carrington if it continues along at its current strength and its current velocity. There is some shear, and it's pretty strong shear in the storm in and around the Fessenden area and not far from Bowdoin. And the tornado watch does continue as we head into the evening hours. So that is what's going on. Hey, Steele, we was just talking about this. A new tornado possible tag put on this storm warning until 11:45 just issued. We told you it was exiting Burleigh County into southern parts and western parts of Kidder County. That storm is really, really strong with the hail and the spin. So let's go ahead and take a look at the storm relative velocity on that one. It does say tornado possible moving east at 26. I had to remind myself there. There's so many storms going on right now. Here is a look at the leading edge of the rotate. This is a tight rotation, folks. There's motion away from the radar and towards. So we do see a couple of areas of spin on this storm that do have some concern. This is from the radar in Mayville. This is a long ways away, so this is very high in the atmosphere. But let's just say this thing's moving off to the east, 26 miles per hour. We'll go with 29. And let's take a look at Steele. It will be along and south of you about now, 10:50 in the next 5 minutes, and it will be on in the general direction of Tappan. There's about 28 minutes or so. It will be on to areas south of Tappan in rural parts of Kidder County, and I'm not kidding. That is some pretty tight rotation there. Let me switch to the Bismarck radar here. Much, much closer. Oh boy, the tornado warning for Bismarck has been expanded into southern parts of Burleigh County and western Kidder County. You see this new tornado warning here? Let's take a look at the latest data from the National Weather Service radar in the Bismarck area. So here is a look at that couplet. It was north in parts of Bismarck. It's now crossing I-94. That was a confirmed tornado. And let's see what we have going on with this now. The warning exits or expires, I should say, at 11. The new tornado warning is 11:15. So for the next half hour, observed tornado and near baseball-sized hail. Sean Malone, thank you for your gift. I really do appreciate it on my YouTube channel. I appreciate all of you. And with your gifts, I continue to build Hutch's weather and continue to cover storms in our area. I'm seeing a pretty tricky looking trick here. Let me go ahead and take a look at what's going on with the shear and the spin on this storm. So here it is, right over the interstate, motion away, very strong motion towards. So semi trucks, everybody traveling along this. If you've got Hutch's weather on, or if you know somebody traveling between, say, Jamestown and the Bismarck area, you need to let them know there's a dangerous storm with a confirmed tornado on the ground. Go ahead and share this update if you don't mind. That would be very, very helpful. So the Bismarck area getting hit once again. And now, checking in on Hazleton and Linton, there is that tight rotation still showing up. It, folks, is right over Linton. And as you take a look at this color here, we don't see that too often. It's not my favorite color because let me show you why. These velocities are 130 mile per hour outbound velocities, and this is inbound. So we have very terrible, terrible shear right over Linton right now. Linton, I hope you're in the basement. This is a extremely dangerous storm working its way through your area right now. It is right over town. It's probably very noisy. It's on its way towards Temvik as well. 2.5 inch diameter hail, and it's only moving at 13 miles per hour. Richard, JG, thanks, brother. Appreciate you. All right, check it out. Now what we got going on out here south of Linton, we got this cell that's working its way. Well, it's in Linton right now. I'm going to take a look at something to see if there's a tornado debris signature. When a storm kicks up debris, sometimes we see that. There it is, blue. Okay, this is in the same area of the rotation. Target similarity is low. That means we could have sticks and chunks and debris in the air right here near Linton. This is a clear sign that we may indeed have a tornado on the ground in or very close to Linton right now. If you're in Linton, please make sure that you're seeking shelter. If you're downwind from Linton out here, see all the red here? That's a debris ball possibly. That's what we would look for. You see that? If the tornadic winds that were outbound, that were working so strongly away from the radar, that debris can get thrown in the air. That's highly, highly different targets moving out of Linton down the Highway 13 corridor. Concerned about each and every one of you folks down there in Emmons County right now along the Highway 13 corridor as you go out towards Wishick and Green Lake out here. Please do not mess with this storm. Seek shelter now. That's dangerous, and there are some indications of a possible touchdown with that storm as well. Let's use this same tool to examine the storm that's moving through Bismarck and out of the Bismarck area. The rotating couplet is the best place to start to see where that's at. Let's go to the velocity display here. Shazam, here it is. There's just a little bit of redness here, which is motion away from the radar and motion towards. So maybe it's cycling a little bit. Maybe it's going through a cycle, but it's still right over and south of the interstate right now in central parts of Burleigh County. You're looking just a little bit outside of the Bismarck-Mandan area right now, and it's moving into rural parts of areas south of the interstate. So this is beyond Monoman, but as you get out there and out towards the Driscoll area, those areas there would be under the gun from this particular tornadic storm. Now, this one had a confirmed tag on it. Let me see if it's still an observed tornado. So definitely in the basement of a sturdy structure is the best on tonight's activity. I'm seeing some shear and spin in this storm here in southern parts of Kidder County as well that appears to be quite strong to Hutch. Motion towards and away from the radar in a couple different spots, basically in the far southern reaches of Kidder County, south of Steele, south of Tappan. No tornado warning, but if we read the threat assessment from the National Weather Service, considerable damage, tornado possible, and I'm telling you, I'm seeing some evidence here of what looks like to be very, very strong shear in this storm. Pardon me, I've got some folks commenting on the site here that I don't need. Hendrum, how far is it from Fargo? Let's go ahead and continue with this coverage. It's going to be a little later. I'm concerned about Stutzman County, Wells County, the Carrington, New Rockford areas, all under the gun from storms right now. In the Bismarck area, I do want to take a look at the correlation coefficient right where the shear is here, where this marker is. We do have some blue. Doesn't mean certain there's debris kicked in the air, but it certainly could be. And it's very blue out ahead of it. So if there's a bunch of debris lofted in the atmosphere, it might look like that. Do you see this? This is ridiculous out there. There's very, very low correlation coefficient south of Steele in that rotation I showed you that was south of the Steele area and south of Interstate 94. That could very well be. And here is another look at the blue near Linton. This slow moving sucker down here continues to drag its feet in Emmons County right along Highway 13 out there north of Strasburg. Please, if you're in Bismarck and points east in central and southern Burleigh County here, from Bismarck all the way out towards Driscoll and Steele, dangerous storm here. I think this is a very dangerous storm in southern parts of the Kidder County area. The indications I'm seeing here could indicate that we have debris in the air picked up where you see the blue. Let's go ahead and look at the target difference. Yep, it's extremely high target differences in this area as well. That is a fairly clear signature there. Been following Reed, and I love his knowledge, but Hutch has a great knowledge as well. Gosh, it don't get better than that to get mentioned in the same sentences as that individual, because he does great work in actually researching these storms. So, all right, I-94 all the way from near Bismarck right out to Tappan, we got strong storms, and I do believe this one in southern Kidder County here has some indications of very, very tight rotation with it as well. Here's a look at the storm relative velocity. There's a couple of different areas here, but in this area in particular, we were seeing some velocities. Let me go back and take a look at some of these levels here. This is incoming wind at 150 miles per hour next to zero. 150 next to zero is terribly strong shear. That is a terribly strong storm and terribly tight rotation. And if I was in southern parts of Kidder County, I would get into the basement and seek shelter in an interior room. Carrington, you got a new warning for your area. What gives? Let me tell you, the storm blowing out of Bowdoin here in parts of the Fessenden area here in Wells County. This backward C shape indicates a very long, strong wind event that is possibly starting to take shape. Do you see this area here? From Bismarck, motion toward the radar in green, motion away from the radar in red. Right there, I'm getting my crayon out so you know it's serious business. All right, here we go. Big, strong winds blowing away from Bismarck. Big, strong, bright green means wind towards. Now, here's the good news. The big, strong up here is not immediately next to the big, strong red over here. So that means there's a broad rotation in this storm. But I'm watching it closely because that's what I do. And not only that, we're going to take a look at the other signatures along this edge. Let's look at what the Weather Service says. This warning is for a thunderstorm with considerable and destructive risk. Baseball hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and it does not say, if I'm reading right, I'm doing my best to read. It doesn't say tornado possible on that particular one. I'm going to allude to this. This is a windy thunderstorm as well. We can't look directly into the wind that's burping out of the storm because it's moving southwest. For that, we'd need the radar right here to look into it. We can't do that. But what we can do is see clearly that there are some enhanced winds right here in this core blowing toward the radar and away from the radar. So there's some shear along the leading edge of that line making its way towards Carrington and towards areas south of New Rockford. There's a little shear marker right there as well. So let's go to the regular radar data to kind of clarify what's going on. This is a monster. Look at this big old hook echo. That's like a big booger hanging out of an elephant's tongue nostril. Look at that thing. So there could be some shear on that leading edge or a heck of an outflow boundary right there. And then you've got this nice white, oh boy, did you see that jump? How fast is this puppy moving? That jumped quite a bit. It's moving at 41 miles per hour. It's picking up. Now we can get some ETAs for our folks here in Stutsman County and Carrington. 41 mile per hour. We got the elephant-nosed booger working its way down this way. 41. I'll go 44 miles per hour. Cathay 1057. Sykeston by 1102. Pingree and Kensal right around 11:45. These storms will be in your area. So this is getting dangerously close to Jamestown, and it's still a good hour away, but I do want to point out we got a couple of leading edge storms there. This one's moving faster. These are moving a little bit slower and in different directions. Get to the basement, Daphne Scholl. Yep, thank you for helping me pass along the information. Thanks, Adam T. I appreciate all the kind words, Teresa. What about the Lansing? In Lansing, I'm good. If you're in Lansing, Michigan, for now, yeah, right now, what I'm seeing is the need to let people know in Grand Forks and Fargo what I'm seeing here on the radar and the trend, and how long will it be. You're going to wake up in the overnight. If you're in Lakes Country, go to bed. But if storms wake you up in the middle of the night, Hutch will be here. That's what Hutch does. I've got my water. I just ordered pizza, and I'm good to bear here. Lansing, Kansas. Thank you, Teresa, for clarifying that. Thank you very much. Okay, so Kansas down here, you got a whole cluster of storms outside of South Dakota and in northwest Kansas moving out of Colorado. It's a storm here that's making its way off to the east near Goodland. I don't have the radar data turned on for this area, but we'll go ahead and turn it on here from DIA out in Denver, Colorado, and see what you got here. You got some hailers out there, and that storm in the Goodland area is basically moving off to the east at 22 miles per hour, 3/4 inch diameter hail, and 60 mile per hour winds for you. Sioux Falls, look out. Very, very gusty wind history, storms making their way through. As I was earlier looking, we're talking 70 to 80 mile per hour gusts blasting into southeast South Dakota. Get ready for wind at corn maze. Hopefully there's still some corn left there. As we go down towards Yankton, there's some stout windy thunderstorms heading towards you. Everybody camps down there. Get out of those campers. The gusty winds mean business with that line of storms. Moving out of the capital city in South Dakota, gusty winds heading towards Miller. Those are severe warned storms as well. Let's see, the closest radar might be Sioux Falls. Let's take a look at that. As we load this data up, you can kind of fill in the blanks. There's a backwards C shape. The Boeing segment of storms here is going to cause some dangerous winds. This looks like weaker systems, but it's not because it's so far away from the radar. And guess what? This storm is blocking some of the radar beam from giving us really clear and good data there. All right, back up to North Dakota we go. Tornado warnings do continue. I don't know that I'm seeing anything. Thank you for all your stars, Susan. I appreciate you. Tornado by the Bismarck Capitol, Kevin says. I'm going into Bismarck right now. We're going to look at the DOT camera and see what's going on. The rotation looked like it was out of town, but that warning is still in town. Let me switch over to the Bismarck radar right now and see what we got. And by right now, I'm hoping it means like tonight. There we go. Okay. So as we take a look at Bismarck, the brunt of the storm is exiting Bismarck off to the east as I thought. But let's take a look at Bismarck real quickly because I do have those cameras at my fingertips here. And this is very helpful information. A lot of these cameras point at the road. Unfortunately, at this time, we're going to see a lot of dark. Let's go right into Bismarck-Mandan. You said the capital. Here we go. There's the capital view. Here's what we see. Dark. Is that hail in the road or just wet roads there? That's they've had a nasty cluster of thunderstorms blast through, and it's McQuaid's weekend in Bismarck. What does that mean? I think it's the world's largest softball tournament is what it is. I've played in that many years, and my friends out there have as well, and I wish you all the best. I hope you are having a blast. There's nothing like the McQuaid's softball tournament there in Bismarck-Mandan. Now, as we take you down east of Bismarck on the interstate, I'm going out to Apple Valley out here, not far from Minokan. where the rest area is. Downpour of rain there, just rain though. I don't see any big chunks of hail falling. Remember, the hail core was just north of the interstate moments ago. I don't have cameras there, but I sure do have some here out west of Steele. And let's see what we got going on. See these creepy critters crawling into the left side of the screen? That's the approach of the system there. And as we go down, boy, is that hail? It's hard to tell the difference between grass and hail at this time of night, but there may have been some hail in that area. Getting down to Linton, HMB, let's go right down here to the Hazleton area. I'm going to go to Wishick and see what we can see. This is approaching you from Linton. It looked like to me there is very tight rotation on a tornado-warned storm that is slowly creeping out of the Linton area right now, moving straight along Highway 13, right over Green Lake area, right towards Wishick now. And this is a very dangerous storm with tight rotation pushing its way through. So stay safe out there, please. Sean, I don't know, but hello from Bemidji, and it's very, very good to see you. And I hope things are going good with the pickup for you guys. I'm going to do one more quick review of the radar right now. Boy, golly, look at this tornado-warned storm moving along the interstate in east of Bismarck. This is just, when you see this, if I sound excited, I'm not excited for destruction. I'm just like, this is like textbook stuff. You read, you study, you learn, you see on the radar, and you go, aha, look at this. What's going on? We got a tornado warning in Burleigh County, just east of Bismarck. Here is the latest radar. And if you check this out, you're going to see this little finger hanging down from the south side of the storm. That is your rotating part of the storm right there. That's where the tornado's at. This nonsense out here is along the leading edge of a gust front. It could be debris that the radar is picking up. A debris ball sometimes gets lofted into the air. This was an observed tornado, and it was on the ground. And as I look at the National Weather Service's feedback on this particular storm, because I need it to keep the information flowing. Oh yeah, we've got a big tornado. This one became a wedge. Big. This was near Temvik. Okay, so that's a big one. Confirmed tornado near Linton as well. Oh goodness, it's big. So that debris that we were seeing, that was business. That's what was going on there. If the Linton tornado is still going, might be some circulation reforming over Linton. Looks like the circulation formed just east of Bismarck. Confirmed tornado on the ground near Minokan. Okay, so a lot of information coming out from Bismarck. Minokan, confirmed tornado on the ground. This is it. There's a debris ball that's, you look out there, that could be on the ground right now as we go up north and not up north. As I go grab data called correlation coefficient, we're looking for blues in the rotating part of the storm, and there's blues and greens right there. That's possibly debris. It's a confirmed tornado on the ground along and south of the interstate, mirroring the interstate. If you know someone traveling I-94 tonight, send them the link to Hutch's weather, please, or send them a tag in this. And it's definitely night storms, so sometimes they're difficult to see. And if you look at the reflectivity, what you're going to notice is there's some significant hail over the interstate. You're not going to see squat if you're driving down the interstate, but rain. And then there's this big, bad tornado down here that's kicking up debris, rolling off to the east. Now, I told you that Steele in southern parts of the Kidder County area, there's another curvy signature right there, and the rotation was intense. Look at the hail core. That updraft is supporting hail that's ridiculous size on that storm. Now, if you're driving down the interstate on Tappan in the Steele area, it's likely damp or wet. The main core of this storm just south of the interstate, we got 1, 2 lining up, 2 tornadic storms there, possibly. I'm going to say possibly on this one because there is the hook, and there was indeed a strong velocity signature on my last visit of this storm. So as we look at it, we do have some incredibly strong inbound winds here next to some not as strong inbound winds here. Not as clear of a signature as the one we got down here. And look at Linton. We continue to see this heading down towards Strasburg. So this tornado warned storm here is for, it says radar indicated. I just read from the National Weather Service confirmation on the ground from that one as well. Unless I was confused by reading that. But look at this. You still have the very bright greens next to bright reds. Tornado rotation moving out of Linton now and not far from you in Strasburg. Here's where it is. As the crow flies, let me get my ruler. Okay, So from Strasbourg to the rotating part of the storm, it's 5.9 miles and it's drifting very slowly. This thing's moving at like 8 to 10 miles per hour. And that's the direction it's moving, is off to the east. So it's moved out of Linton. You can see the tornado report there. It moved through Linton, it looked like, and now it's moving down towards Strasbourg. I'm hoping Linton is okay. If you know somebody in Linton, you should be in your tornado warned area. But if you do, and if it's safe to do so, when it's safe to do so, let us know you're okay. Strasbourg, we do have that shear now, only 5 miles. The latest scan just came in, only 5 miles due north of town. So if you're in Strasbourg, the Highway 13 corridor south of Linton, seek shelter immediately. That is a dangerous storm. Carrington, you've got a storm working its way in. I'm going to switch radars over here, because we continue to see a gusty line of storms working their way through, a little bit of rotation there on the storms as well. Now, I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to let this radar ride while I load up a model so you can see the latest forecast information you need. But in an event like this, it's sometimes best to do nowcasting. So we're going to go right up to this other radar up top here. And let me see, you got your timestamp there. This is what's going on right now. Tornado warning, tornado. Oh, they got a tornado warning now with a TVS marker on the storm I've been talking about in southern parts of Kidder County. That one had a debris ball, what looked like it on there. There's another 2-inch hail core on the interstate right now, just off to the east of Bismarck. 3 active tornado warnings now in south central North Dakota. Now, if you happen to be in the path of any of these storms, they're mighty dangerous. And the pictures I saw, I cannot share them with you. The pictures I saw, this is not a small tornado down here by the area near Wishick, Strasbourg, and Linton. It is a big tornado. There's a confirmed tornado on the ground east of Bismarck here, and it was a confirmed tornado on the ground outside of Bismarck moving its way through, and now a new tornado warning for southern parts of Kidder County here for the storm that I've been talking about. Whoops, I'm going to pull up the other radar. This storm right here, south of Steele, south of Dawson, staying in rural parts of the county there. If you're in the rural part of the county down there, get out of the camper, get out of the mobile home. Please look for a basement or a shelter. This is a strong looking some of these tornadoes are stronger than I expected them to be, the way they've been looking. How far east is a tornado threat expected to live? For that, I'll go right back up to this other radar. We'll zoom out and it'll show you. The watch has been extended, it looks like, into the Sargent and Ransom County areas. It's been extended, I think, into the Griggs County area as well. It's been dropped for Benson and Ramsey County now. The threat is also gone from Pierce County the way it looks. Oh, no, there's a couple trailers. It's going, it's going. Okay, so those storms are ending there. What's the prediction for western Minnesota? Let's go. Let's get to your forecast now. So much is changing right now, and with active tornado warnings on the ground right now, it is something that I want to kind of continue referring back to. But if you look at the movement of these storms, these ones moving into Carrington are moving southeast fast. They're picking up speed, 40 miles per hour. What's meandering north of Stutzman County now has a 1-inch hail marker on it here, moving right into Jamestown. After last week, 1 week ago today, 3.5-inch, bigger than baseballs, 3.5 inches. It's like, get your grapefruit spoon out. That's ridiculous hail that was down there. And that's moving up toward the Jamestown Reservoir now. It's not a severe warning yet, but it's flirting with severe criteria right now. Every weekend, these storms, question mark, it's crazy. What about Gackle? What about Streeter? This thing is moving down in the general direction of the Gackle area, the tornado warned storm. If you are in Streeter or Gackle, this storm that is right here is moving in your direction. I'll keep you posted. You can count on Hutch. I've done this for a couple of years, and as they like to say, this isn't my first rodeo, and now I'm seeing a very, very tight rotation marker in Stutzman County. Here we go. Stutzman County. This is a ways away from the Bismarck radar, so I'm going to verify it with the Mayville radar. But here we've got a couplet together north of Cleveland in Stutzman County. This is, well, the movement of this puppy, let me just verify, it's northeast. So this is moving towards Pingree. This junk here is moving down this way. So this storm is going to get overtaken by this Boeing line out here in all likelihood. But that's a rotating thunderstorm right there with 1-inch hail potential off to the north and west of the Jamestown area. So let me see if there's any debris markers on that puppy, just to play not that high. I'm not seeing it. This is very high in the atmosphere. There is indication of something different in the atmosphere at that rotating area near Buchanan. Right now, I'm going to switch over to the Mayville radar. This is the Mayville radar. Pardon my mistake or overlook. They're both looking into each other's beams. New thunderstorm warning issued just now. Tornado, not a tornado, but a thunderstorm warning. Spiritwood, Jamestown, radar indicated storm making 1.5 inch diameter hail, 60-mile-per-hour gusts possible with these storms. They are crazy, and it's dark 30, and they seem to be picking up some steam. They're picking up steam in the core area where the energy was earlier for these storms. Jamestown, prepare for large hail. Let's go back to the velocity signature on this just because we got to watch these storms closely in this environment. Now, the velocity signature that we're seeing here, what I'm talking about is reds and greens next to each other. There is one that I'm concerned about that's spinning up here outside of Buchanan. This one is more weak with the shear. Will Gackle get a tornado? Angie, I can't tell you what town it will move through until we get a little closer. The storm to your west that's heading your way is a ways away yet, and it is a tornado warned storm. And I think at last check, I want to verify this, but I don't think it said confirmed tornado. Yes, it's an observed tornado. Lake Isabel, get out of your campers, get out of your tents. That storm has a tornado confirmed on the ground. You can see right here the reds and greens next to each other, visible from the Mayville radar. That's a long ways away, and it's still visible way up high, and it's making its way in that general direction of you folks in Streeter. So if you are in Streeter and then eventually Gackle, it's a long ways away. The speed of movement of this puppy is 22 miles per hour. Hutch will measure from the leading edge of the tornado to Streeter. It's an hour away. It's 24.8 miles, 1 hour away, midnight before it moves to you a little later for Gackle, if it's still producing the threat. And I'll be here to let you know. I hope. Okay. This storm moving out of Strasburg is still showing some incredible signs of shear. This is from Mayville. It's seeing it way up at the high levels of the cloud there, heading in the general direction of Hague and off to areas just south of Highway 13 there in North Dakota. And the Bismarck area continues to see in Burleigh County, central and southern, a tornado-warned storm. Let me get to the Bismarck radar. That's got to have better data than what I'm looking at there. And as it loads, well, yep, there's clear indications of a very strong inbound wind and outbound wind right next to each other. There's your tornado. That one was observed. Oh, my goodness. Southern Burleigh County heading toward the Highway 83 corridor in southern Burleigh County right here. That is where the tornado-warned storm is. It still shows some evidence of rotation. Let's see if it's still picking up debris. It is. There's blue right there. And now let's see if we have target differences. Red. Yep, same area, red. There's definitely the sign of some debris, and there's signs of debris along this storm's path out here in parts of Kidder County, southern Kidder County, south of the interstate corridor. We're not seeing as clear indication on this radar beam of gate-to-gate shear or spin in the storm here, but what we have is inbound wind next to not so strong outbound wind, and there is a little bit of shear on that part of the storm, but there was a hook on that puppy, and a hook echo is not good. Hook echo is something that can sometimes indicate where a tornado is, so I'm trying to get back to the single site data. Here we go. See that little notch in the storm right there? That's a hook. There's another hook. There's two fingers or phalanges dangling down from those two thunderstorm cells. I do believe this looks like one big thunderstorm cell, but it's not. There's one here with a huge updraft supporting this hail core. There's another one here with a huge updraft supporting this hail core. Two areas of rotation, both in southern parts of Kidder County. No watch in Wahpeton. Nope, not yet. And let's go ahead and take a look at some of the parameters in the forecast. So now let's nowcast. Nowcast is where Hutch gets his head calculator out. This Carrington storm. Look, this storm in Stutzman County is going to move through and you're going to get whacked by another one. So if you're on the Jamestown Reservoir or whatnot, this storm is dangerous. 1 inch hail, and we could have some gusts of wind to 60 miles per hour. And then you're going to get brought in from the north, and moving into Carrington right now is this line of storms. So I'm going to go from this line of storms moving southeast at 45 miles per hour or so, 40 miles per hour. Here's how far this storm is from Fargo. Okay, so this is 116 miles away at 40 miles per hour. That is about 3 hours away. What did I say earlier about 1 in the morning? It's still looking to hold true. 1 in the morning. We could certainly get some of these sputsy showers out here on the east and north side of the storm, and those puppies are not really that threatening. Now, the atmosphere here over the valley, I've talked about this throughout the day, a lot less potent because we didn't get to the heat and the energy that they did out in the eastern part of the state. But what this storm is doing with the wind out ahead of it, if it creates its own circulation like some other storms do, called a mesoscale complex, if these kind of congeal, this cluster of storms is congealing, but it's a smaller one than what we witnessed move through Stutzman County and that derecho that we had. This is not a derecho. It doesn't look like a derecho at all. But if this gets organized, it could last a little longer, and the storms could indeed be stout. I understand this is frightening to look at as they move off to the east. Let's go to the latest radar model and show you a look at the future radar. This model here, let's see if it's gotten any better. It's kind of, well, let's just see. It's got the stuff moving through the Devil's Lake Basin. It's got a couple of cells making their way in, working through the Red River Valley. As we back this up one click, that's 5 hours. That's 2 in the morning or so, moving through the valley and then moving into central Minnesota, but falling apart. I don't believe this model. Number one, what's going on down in Sioux Falls is not depicted well by this model. I'm going to throw it out with the bathwater right now and look at this model and see if it's any gooder. Now, this one is gooder. Bismarck, yep, that one. And these started out like this earlier this evening. And now we've got this line. It's not quite matching up perfectly, but we can see that by the time we get to 1 a.m., they're moving into parts of the Southern Valley. And then as we go to 2 a.m., Wahpeton, Breckenridge, this looks linear. This looks like a backward C, and it looks like gusty straight line wind will be the main threat from these storms as we go through. Thank you, Brenda, for your comments on the website. I appreciate that very much, and I appreciate all of your pictures. This Boeing line segment of storms as we go into the wee hours of the night here, this is 4 a.m., working its way through Otter Tail County towards Douglas County, Grant County, Morris, Benson area as well, all the way down in towards St. Cloud as we go towards daybreak, heading into the Twin Cities for a blast of refreshing air and wetness. Everybody's favorite. All right, let's see. Just started raining southwest Jamestown. Huge drops being reported there. I'm going to look at one more model that's done the best job of all the models. This is the newest run. It just came out. This one takes longer to run. Here's the Boeing line segment heading towards us now. It is showing the low pressure center forming here, a mesoscale or a small scale low. And as that moves its way off to the east, we get a Boeing line segment making its way through the Red River Valley as we go from 11 to midnight to around 1 o'clock in Fargo and off into Lakes Country beyond that. So this cluster of storms looks like it could impact the valley as we go through the 1 o'clock time frame. What time is it? 11:18. So we got a couple hours yet here. Active tornado warning now, Carrington. Let's get to that. So now we've talked a little bit about the forecast timing. Lakes Country, we're talking after 1 a.m. in all likelihood. Any more storms for Bismarck? No. There's no more storms going to come to Bismarck. Here's why. On the backside of the system, this system has worked its way by you. You got some just off to the east of you. I want the new tornado warning update in Carrington. I was talking about the spin and shear in this particular storm. Here is a backward C shape moving. This puppy's moving pretty quickly. The National Weather Service says a radar indicated tornado moving southeast at 25 miles per hour. There is a hail core right there. As it's moving across as well. I'm going to pull up the storm relative velocity data here, and we'll see. From the radar in Bismarck, we're seeing this is the shear marker right here. This is a lot of schmutzy looking activity right there because it's at the edge of the Bismarck beam. Let's switch over to the Mayville radar and see if we can get a better, more clear representation. Yep. Here's your spin right outside of Carrington, just south of Carrington, moving southeast at 25 miles per hour. Now, earlier, this line of storms was moving faster. I don't know if I buy the 25 miles per hour. We'll see. I'm going to take a look at it. I'm sure that it's going to be close, but if it was moving at 40 earlier, as something to kind of keep in mind. I think it might be moving a little faster. We'll keep our eyes on it very closely. The target differences. We would expect to see red in the area of rotation. We don't see a lot of that, so that's good. And this is very high up in the atmosphere because it's so far away from the radar. Sometimes debris don't get lofted up 1.5 miles into the atmosphere, so keep that in mind. This may not help us see if there's debris. I'm not seeing any signatures yet, but again, this is very high off of the ground. This is not a Doppler. This is a Doppler indicated tornado. It is not a confirmed tornado on the ground. If you are in rural areas south of the Carrington area, please seek shelter in that interior room away from windows. Golf ball sized hail and a nasty storm moving through Foster County and heading into northern parts. Oop, there's some blue now starting to show up, but that's ahead of it. We'll take a look at that a little bit, but that might be some dust and stuff getting kicked up by the wind. I do believe the rotation was back here on the backside. Let me double check and verify that. I like to make sure. Yes, there's the tight spin. So the tight spin is moving in the general direction of you folks in Pingree. And I'm going to use the Weather Service's rate of motion with this, and it says 25 miles per hour. I'm going to trust that, but I think it could be a little faster, so I'm going to go 30. It should be in Pingree right at midnight. So, boy, we're talking about big time golf ball, tennis ball size hail possible from that storm. And it's moving in your general direction in northern and rural parts of Stutsman County out of Foster County. Good evening. Good to see you. Thank you, Simon, for watching. Gary, thanks for watching. Aaron, thank you very much for your kudos. And do you think that Judd and Edgeley area will have storms? Well, there are some storms blasting out of the Ashley area towards Wishick right now. Those storms are very, very strong indeed. Tornado warned storms, as a matter of fact. And as we take a look here, we got a tornado magnitude 0. It's always going to say magnitude 0 when it's just observed because it takes research to look at the damage to estimate the wind speeds. Nobody's out there with their anemometer saying, yep, those winds were 119 miles per hour. So we can't judge that yet. This is an observed tornado 8 miles southeast of Driscoll. I was talking about it for some time as the storm was working its way into southern parts of Kidder County. It was spinning, and there were 2 areas of spin with this. There's your tornado that was observed. The time of the observed tornado was about 11:06. That tornado is now right here crossing over the Highway 3 corridor, is it? Let me just verify that. Down to Napoleon. So between Dawson and Napoleon, it's fixing to cross that highway right now. That was a confirmed tornado. Thank you, Amy, for sharing stars with Hutch. Ryland, when will the storms be here in Moorhead? Just went over that. It looks like about 1 to 2 a.m. 1 o'clock probably more apt to be correct. Grand Forks, will the storms hit you? Right now, there's a possibility, but everything in your area is non-severe. This is the main event heading down this way. With any luck, the most severe of the weather will pass to your south. That's what it's looking like right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 nocturnal tornado warnings. Numerous, 1, 2, 3 of them have observed tornadoes that have been on the ground. Bagley, a long time before they make their way into Bagley. And in fact, most of the models are shoving these down into the I-94 corridor in southern Minnesota. I'm hoping, I can't sound the all clear yet, but I'm hoping you're clear. I'm going to pop up a look at the energy in the atmosphere. The energy in the atmosphere is something that we measure. It's called convective atmospheric potential energy. We in meteorology call it CAPE, but this ain't Batman. This is energy for the rising motion that's creating these flipping huge hailstones out there. And look at this. So this is the energy in the atmosphere that's being calculated, and it's 6,000 joules of energy. This is more like what we would see in the southern plain states in Tornado Alley. Soviet 2 says Canada was sure lucky about 15 or so years ago with the F5 in the Ely area, I believe, or is it? Yeah, Ely, Manitoba, that didn't hit homes and didn't cause more damage. Will they lose their tornadic capacity? Greg, I'm getting to your question. Is Emmaville, Park Rapids in the path? It looks like, right now, it looks like they'll go south. Let me show you what I mean. Do you see how the colors change rapidly as we get into Fargo and Grand Forks? The energy in the atmosphere goes from 5,000 near Bismarck, and it drops all the way down to about 800 here in our area. Could it go up overnight? Yes. What would cause it to go up? Getting more humid and actually having what we call a low-level jet just off the ground, maybe a few hundred feet. A strong south wind feeding into these storms could cause these storms to continue. even into air that is not friendly to develop a new storm. So our air is not friendly to develop a new storm. That's why they fired out here where there's all the buoyancy in the atmosphere. So that's one thing I'm looking at. Another thing I'm looking at is the spin in the lower atmosphere. Here is where the spin is the greatest. Look at Grand Forks and look at Fargo. Right now, this spin is right here where the tornado warnings are. And by golly, it's not far off here. So we do have some shear and spin in the atmosphere in South Dakota. Can't get the map to expand to the Strasburg area. My grandson is there. Thanks, Hutch. What map are you speaking of, Amy? I'd love to help you if I could, if it's my website map. What I would tell you is that the spin in the atmosphere is here. The lift in the atmosphere is here. This complex of storms, it's not really an organized complex, but the individual storms bring about sometimes even more of a distinct threat for tornadoes. Why? Because they're all standalone, not a linear line of storms like the ones that we saw moving towards Carrington, and those burped out a tornado warning as well. 1-inch diameter hail continues to be the threat for Jamestown. 2-inch diameter hail is the threat right now. It's picked up again in Burleigh County, out east of Bismarck, heading into the Kidder County area. 3 active tornado warnings and an active TVS or tornadic vortex structure on Highway 13 right now, moving out of Linton across the highway right now. Unbelievable activity going on. So I'm in Jamestown. I'm already over these bad storms. I hear you, Katie. You've had a long week or couple weeks. Anything for Lisbon. That storm is moving out of the, well, no, it's moving toward the Lisbon area. You got one, let me put the radar up here. My apologies. All right, here we go. Tornado warned storms, Jamestown. Here they are. They're all moving in this easterly direction. Ellendale, yes, Ellendale, you are in the path of these storms. Will they be tornadic? You are in the tornado watch. This puppy moving here out of the area near Linton and towards Wishick has a confirmed tornado on the ground. It has had debris ball signatures, and the pictures I saw, not small. Yeah, and the stuff is moving towards Fargo. This stuff here is moving towards Fargo. Will it hit us or just south of us? Right now, it looks like it's going to be a close call, but I'd call it south. Will these storms up north intensify? No, it doesn't look like it. These are taking all the energy right now. Will these storms intensify? They'll be stout, but not to the levels of what we're seeing here. Remember, the energy in the atmosphere is here to cause the lift. The spin in the atmosphere is here to cause these tornado warnings, and I'm watching them for you. Shoot, Hutch, I think I'm on Facebook watching live. Normally, I just pitch in, blows up, can't get it to. I'm sure I'm the dum-dum. Okay, nobody's a dum-dum. I think Otter Tail County, 4 to 5 a.m. That's not going to be out of the realm of possibility. It might be a little earlier. Let's go 2 to 4 a.m. for you. These sometimes do speed up, so I want to make sure. And if you go to bed now, go to bed. And if they're severe, check with Hutch's Weather and hutchesweather.com. All right, let's see. What's going to happen in Bemidji? Look south. Look south of Bemidji. H.J. Norman, Litchfield. Catherine, Fort Ransom. Will it get bad as there's 1,000 people camping? There's a pretty decent chance of some bad storms. You are now in the tornado watch in Fort Ransom. The tornado watch was extended into Sargent and Ransom counties, so please keep that in mind. If you're camping, I think the best thing to do is batten down the hatches. And if you can't stay informed, and you got to know where a severe shelter is, you got to know. I don't know if Reed Timmer is in Fargo, Brenda, but I know he was in the area tonight. That's what I heard. So for H.J. Norman, if you're camping down here, let me give you some sort of an idea. But these storms that are moving off to the east are moving at a clip. This tornado-warned storm heading towards the Wishick area is moving at only a clip of about 17 to 20 miles per hour. It's a long ways away. But the stuff moving in from the northeast is also heading in the Lisbon area and that area down here near Fort Ransom. So keep that in mind. All of you can expect these storms to arrive well after midnight, probably closer to 1 a.m. That's what my going forecast is. Thank you for your stars, everybody. Thank you for your support on my YouTube channel, and please consider hitting the old subscribe button there. It does help Hutch out a great deal. The entire county of Foster County and most of Stutzman County now in a thunderstorm warning. You got a whole huge mess of thunderstorms. You see this big yellow box there. That's all a thunderstorm warning now for 2 clusters of thunderstorms, one moving through the Jamestown area and out. Then this line's coming back towards you. It has an active tornado warning on it right now. That's what's going on. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I'm going to go get a drink of water. Here it is. As we continue coverage of these storms. Pass along to your friends that were covering storms. Valley City, you're in the path of the storms. They're not far from you. The Jamestown storms are moving your way, but the line here is going to catch up to those. Remember last week when the storms caught up with the tornadic cells that were moving through places like Enderlin and Fort Ransom? It overtook those storms and just blew them up, and I think saved parts of the Southern Valley. And in fact, I had a video on that on my YouTube channel some time ago, earlier in the week after our event, that went through and reviewed how we may have been saved in Fargo and Point South, in particular near Oxbow, and for you folks out there off into the areas near the, for my friends in Horace and all the way down into northern parts of Richland County. That's where it was. I'm reading questions and trying to talk at the same time, and I don't mind telling you sometimes it's tough. Let's go ahead and take a look then at what we have going on. Oh, let me go to this. What I'm trying to do here. Okay. It's getting data, getting caught up. Okay. So we've got storms moving east through the Jamestown area. We've got another storm moving in from the northwest, moving in towards the Jamestown area. Particularly, though, if you're in Pingree, Buchanan, if you're in the area of Kensal and Courtney, you all are under the risk of this tornado warning storm. There is a backward C shape to it right here, which indicates some gusty straight line winds. Remember, the speed of movement of this, I thought, was about 40 miles per hour. It looks like it's moving pretty quickly. Moving at 25 miles per hour. There's the note from the Weather Service. Let's go ahead and put a look at the rotation in this. Where is it? Still extremely bright rotation. Verify my radar source. It's Mayville. Mayville is seeing the rotation right here. Very tight rotation right here. It's moving right towards Pingree and Kensal and in rural areas right along Highway 281 right now. If you're in these areas, you should be in your shelter now. Please make sure that you're getting to the lowest floor possible. Don't wait by the window until it's too late. Ada or Halstead, it does look like it'll be a little later for us. After 1, my gut is telling me south of Ada, we could see some storms form, but most of the energy is off to the west. Thanks, Micah, for the support of stars. Thanks, Chris, for the support of stars. Thanks, Carrington. Thoughts? You got it. Amber, let's get to you. Right now, Carrington, you're on the north side of the system. You're under a thunderstorm warning and near a tornado warning. The rotating part of the storm is here, moving out of your area and towards and along the Highway 281 corridor towards Pingree. Just as moving off to the east along the county line here. So on the Foster Stutzman County line, it's now making a left-hand turn and moving a little bit more in that general direction of you folks in Kensal. So I think that what we'll do here is I'm going to make sure that we time this out. If it's moving at about 20 miles per hour in this direction, let's see what's going on, Kensal. 25 miles per hour. And if you're in Kensal, you're on the edge of the warning. I know you're not in the warning, but it should arrive near your area by 12:08. So I would heed the warning and seek shelter. Low floor, sturdy structure. Put as many walls between you and any windows as possible. That means if you got a hallway in your basement with no windows, a hallway's good. Get down low, cover your head. If you happen to have a closet in the hallway, that's even better. The more doors you make those doggone debris things fly through, the more protection you offer you and your family during these storms. Jamestown, what's going on? As far as the risk of severe shear, I'm not seeing it. There is a little bit of strong windy activity here, but it looks like your main concern is going to be the hail and the thunderstorm winds, 60 mile per hour, 1.5 inch diameter hail from this. So again, another round of hail possible in and around Jamestown right now. I must go back to the single site radar data to show you where it is. So the reservoir up north towards Wimbledon, that's a bowing line segment from this, bowing this way. What does that mean? Like a bow and arrow, baby. That's what's going on. The winds are pushing it in that bow shape. At the apex of the bow, or kind of where it's most poochy here, right here, that's where usually the strongest winds are. Watch out for the pooch. Pedro just looked at me a little funny. Jamestown, you still got terrible looking wind and rain and hail on the north side of town near the airport out west, or excuse me, east. Buchanan, you got a nasty storm. Well, look at that big bite taken out of that storm. Is that rotating? Is that rotating? Let me tell you, we got to answer the questions. Hutch is looking in real time for signs of things that I think we all need to be concerned about tonight. And there is, on the outside of the radar's limit here, a little bit of shear on that, a little bit of weak shear on that storm in central Stutsman County. The strong shear with the bright greens and reds right here is moving off to the east southeast along the county line. Dangerous storm here. Let's go back to the Burleigh County area, and I'm going to switch the radar back over to Bismarck so we can see the tornado warned storm, and it was a confirmed tornado. Does it still show signs of shear? Well, let me tell you, there's a tornado warning here, but I'm not seeing greens and reds next to each other until I get here, and then it's strong. So let me go ahead and investigate this and see how strong that shear is. There's some range folding in there. That's what RF stands for, if you are asking or wondering. We could talk about what that is later. 57, 60 mile per hour outgoing winds, incoming winds at 90. Okay, so here you got, is that by the interstate? No, that's well south of the interstate. So we don't have 90 mile per hour traffic moving down here, I'm assuming. So sometimes literally the radar can pick up cars moving on highways because, well, we get some targets on the interstate or the highway that cause these to increase. But we do have some 90 mile per hour incoming winds here. There's shear here. And then there's winds that are next to it that are much slower, and outgoing winds here. So there's shear in this area. And that's where your tornado warned storm is now. Now, the one that caused this report of a tornado here south of Steele has moved out of the area. And it looks like to me, it looks like it's weakened its rotation. The tornado warning for southern Kidder County has been dropped, but I do see this area here as a bit of concern for Hutch along the county line here with Kidder County and your neighbors in Emmons County. So please keep that in mind. Now, as for you folks in Wishick and Linton, this was a reported tornado. It was a big looking tornado, and there were some serious evidence that one was lofting up some debris. That storm warning has been changed to a severe thunderstorm warning right now. The severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until midnight 30. It's moving off to the southeast at 22 miles per hour like this. It's moving towards Ashley. It's moving towards you folks in Wishick. It's moving towards areas north of Zeeland as well. Thanks for all of your stars. I don't care what they say about you. Y'all are the most goodest, and thank you very much. So now as we take a look, I got more questions coming in. We watched Hutch Forever in Grand Forks. My dad had the news on every night. Well, it's good to see you again, Sean. Thanks for watching Weather Odyssey. I appreciate your comments there. Purple haze is range folding. Yep, indeed. Okay, so that's what you got over by my shoulder over here. Out at the extent of the radar, we can't detect as much information once it's gone beyond our ability to calculate the shift in the Doppler frequency, or a Doppler shift. Tornadoes reported across the Bismarck area and points east here as we've gone through the late night hours just east of Bismarck. We still have a tornado warning. That storm now, I believe, is in southern Kidder County and is still showing some shear. We have an active tornado warning moving out of the Carrington area for this one. I'm going to sneak back to the Mayville radar and check it out. Here's what we got. We got some shear moving into Kensal. It's weakened a little bit over the last scan. That's good news, but the warning remains in effect. Please stay in your tornado shelter. We do have some signs of This isn't gate to gate shear here because the radar is just due off to the east of you guys here, but this is more of a motion away from the radar with wind up higher moving toward the radar. So that's like a rolling of the air in the atmosphere in that general direction. So that's what we got. Jamestown, gusty winds moving off to your east, severe thunderstorm warnings. Tornado warning does continue for northern and central Stutsman County until 11:45 p.m. I do think that there are some good signs on the radar imagery here as far as the shear goes. It's weak here. It is still here, and it is still moving in that general direction of Kensal. So if you are in the Kensal area, please seek shelter and heed the warning and make sure it's in the lowest floor and make sure you're out of the campers at the camping areas. Windy line of thunderstorms blowing out of the Carrington area is going to move into northern Stutsman. If you happen to be watching now, tap, tap, tap. If you're watching now from Lake Ashtabula, it's time to start making plans and know where you can go to be safe if this line of thunderstorms continues into your area. You'll have time to make a decision like that, but these storms have been serious business tonight out to the west, producing baseball-sized hail. Wind gusts in our area haven't been as strong as South Dakota, but they have been gusty and upwards of 70 miles per hour in a couple of locations estimated. Rainfall from these storms is very heavy. As I take a look at the North Dakota Agricultural Weather Network here, we are past the, oh no, we're not past the midnight hour. See, I've even gotten lost as to what time it is. Here you go, folks. This is a look at the rainfall amounts. 1.3 inches in central parts of Burleigh County and southern along the interstate there, east of the Bismarck area. So some gully washers there. 0.6 of an inch out there in the Oliver County area. 0.4 of an inch up in Sheridan County and Wells County near Harvey. 62 100ths. Maddock picking up some beneficial moisture. 53 100ths again in Jamestown. Sirens are up at the state hospital. Have their own and go off if there is a tornado warning in the whole county. Oh, thanks for letting me know that, Michaela. There is a tornado in the upper left-hand corner of Stutsman County up here by the 2-3 on here. We'll get back to the radar in a second. So rainfall amounts, at least in rain gauges, has been upwards of between 1/3 of an inch and 1.3 inches from these storms. That's what's going on there. Now a quick look back at the radar. You see, I think I'm getting some pictures in as well. So I'm going to pull the radar up. I'm going to pull the other radar up. Sometimes it's fun to look at them all. Here we go. Okay, so we move this over. Look at, you see that 3 there? Oh my goodness, 3-inch hail. That's a 3-inch hail marker on that particular storm. We better go in and investigate that. 2-inch hail marker from this follow-up storm crossing Highway 83 north of Linton after the tornadic storm. Oh, nope, there it is. That's another one forming there. 2-inch hail marker there. 3-inch hail marker from the storm that I told you was still showing some signs of rotation as it moved into Kidder County. That's a strong updraft. If it's rotating, that's not good. Podcast scriber Greg, if anyone here would tap that thumbs up button and like, and more people would see this report. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm going to give myself a heart. How's that? Maybe that'll help. We just want to get the words out. The sirens are up at the state and they're going off. Jordan says, no offense, Hutch, but I hope we don't spend another Friday with you next weekend. Neither do I. I hope that's exactly true. So I'm going to go back down and take a look at the pictures sent in right now. 2 active tornado warnings south of Carrington and northern parts of Stutsman County. We have a hailer now in southern Kidder County that I think is rotating pretty good. And these storms are blowing into the general direction of the Jamestown Reservoir now, and they'll be moving into Barnes County shortly. That means the risk is going to be greater here. If I draw a line down here from, let's say, the leading north edge of these storms here down in toward the FM area and Richland County, these storms here in particular are very strong. So there's a better risk, an increased risk of those severe storms tracking that way. Asking about Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, is it good? I can't say you're not going to see storms, but by judging the radar that I'm seeing here, I am seeing, let me switch it over to the Mayville radar. These storms, not intense. These storms have a little bit of possibly small hail in them moving through northwest Minnesota. I do think the main threat is on this diagonal from where we have stuff going now and where it's moving right now. Could we get a left turner moving out toward the Fargo area? Cannot rule it out. That's what's going on. Let me check your photos here, and then we'll keep you updated as we continue to cover the weather. Looks like I've got a message here from folks. Okay, let's see. Oh boy. Oh my gosh, Mark, thanks for sharing that that video. Holy buckets. Adam Fisher, would you please upload your video to hutchesweather.com? I sent you the link in the messaging segment. Is that your video? If it's got to be your image. If it's your image, I'd love to have you upload your image. I can't accept it if it's not yours. I'm just asking for your permission to share it with others tonight. Echoes for any of you. If you have taken a photo or a video of tonight's activity, please share it. That was a huge tornado that Adam had a picture of. I'd love to have it and share with you. Thunder thumping off of the west now. Yep, it's coming. Raining in Jamestown, but not too bad. Katie, glad for the report. Thank you very much. Let me look and see what other, oh my goodness. Holy bucket of steaming. Well, I ain't going to say it here because this is a family program. Katie Olson, thank you. Tornado visible. All right. Thank you. And let's go ahead and take you to those. All right. So we do got a couple of images to share with you. And again, tornadoes tonight sighted, some of them large tornadoes, some of them showing debris signatures. Worried about East Grand Forks, I'm guessing will be good. Ashley, yes. I think that Grand Forks County, Nelson County, except the far southern side, are good. I'm still a little concerned about maybe Steele County here from this line of storms here that could be producing some 1-inch hail, Thompson area, and as well as Northwood. As far as the rotating stuff goes and the real windy stuff, though, that I think it'll be farther south than that. That's what I'm thinking based on the current trends from the storms tonight. Speaking of current trends, we have no more tornado warning right now in the Carrington and Jamestown or Stutzman County area. That's the good news. And we still see an even brighter signature of rotation now on the storm that's exiting through the Napoleon area and south parts of Kidder County once again. So I'm going to sneak over and look at the velocity signature on this. From the Bismarck radar, which is much, much closer. I'm not seeing the threat that I was from the far away. What's going on is the higher cloud tops showing some spin along that leading edge of the storm. There's a severe thunderstorm warning. Considerable damage is possible in southern Kidder County, south of the interstate corridor. This storm's only moving at 16 miles per hour, 1 3/4 inch hail and 60 mile per hour bursts of wind from these storms. Are they finally weakening? Some of them are. Some of them are pulsing up. I just had a 3-inch hail marker on one of these storms here just moments ago. So let me get to that and we'll take a look at what's going on with your pictures. I want to share this with you. Thank you to everybody who's taken the time to upload. You can already see hutchesweather.com anytime, anywhere, the latest weather information. I'm live. There you go. You can click and watch me from any device that you can log on to hutchesweather.com. hutchesweather.com. I'll say it one more time. hutchesweather.com. Okay, weather pics. That's where you click. You can upload your photos. You can peruse others. Check this Bismarck view out. Oh, holy cow buckets. Look at that tube twisting out of the skies there on the backside of that storm. And that one taken here and uploaded by Kate Olson. Thank you so very much. Picture taken in North Bismarck. Remember, those storms were crossing north of the interstate, and that neighborhood in North Bismarck looked like it got most of the hail too. That's an awesome picture. Thank you. But you can even see the clearing skies behind the storms, which is a good sign for your neighbors to the north. Now I've got a video. Holy buckets, a video. Kate Olson, thank you. Oh my gosh. This is taken in North Bismarck by Horizon Middle School. In North Bismarck. Look at that beast. That is a huge. Look at the lightning with it. These updrafts, they really cause a lot of unsettled ice moving in. You can see the clouds on the leading or closer side of you moving in one direction, and on the backside moving another direction. There's a lowering of the cloud base. Katie, thank you so very much for sharing this. I appreciate that. That tornado was in the Bismarck area on the north side of the interstate, and that moved off to the east and became south of the interstate. Now most of the threat is south. Thank you so much for uploading your photos. Modest clouds aplenty on the towers that rise, that air moves up of the jet stream winds, and there's a lot of turbulence in the atmosphere causing that udder looking shape. Modest clouds, Washburn area. Thanks, Gabe. You're the best. And that's looking north from the 4-H camp. You can even see all of the nets out there for the recreational activities. Thank you very much for sharing more from the Washburn area. Oh, that's the same one on my bad. Look at this beast. Look at that lightning wrapping around this supercell thunderstorm. What structure that is. See the wavy nature to the clouds. Those are gravity waves that kind of form on the base of the cloud. Just incredible structure to that. And anytime you see a storm coming, lightning coming out of the side of a storm, if it strikes the ground, we call that a bolt from the blue, and those have terrible, terrible energy, extremely, extremely volatile and violent. And that's why we say you can still be struck by lightning 30 miles away from a storm. It's from lightning like you saw right here coming out of the side of the storm, or this top of the anvil and down to the ground, can strike 30 miles away from the main core of the thunderstorm. So keep that in mind. The tornado warning is still in effect for the southeastern quadrant of Burleigh County. That is set to expire here at midnight in the next 10 minutes. We have a lot of active thunderstorm warnings right now. Let's go ahead and get you to the latest. And as we look into Jamestown, you got 2 warnings. It's confusing. Warning 1, this little box around Jamestown was for the storm that's now exiting in towards parts of Barnes County. Allow me to switch the radar data over to single site data. That first warning is for this activity that's moved out into western Barnes County. The risk from anything from that is exiting. South of the interstate, that stuff, well, there could be a hail core along and south of the interstate, but not as big as the one that was before. What's it look for the Gackle area right now? Look at what's going on. That's north of you. This puppy's moving right towards you, but it's a creepy crawler and moving slow, and it is mean. So I'll keep my eyes on that one for you. Your distance from that puppy is quite a ways away here as it's barking out there north of Napoleon. It's 32 miles away from you. And at latest check from the National Weather Service Forecast Office, Bismarck, North Dakota, moving at 16 miles per hour. So that's a slow, creepy crawler. If it maintains its strength, then we'll watch out for it. Look at the little hook forming on that puppy right there. And then all of these cells here blasting out through Jamestown. You see this huge box right here? These storms are all blowing down to the south and east. So as I loop the radar here up to the north, I'm looking on my other radar display here. Let me loop it up. Storms are interacting with each other. Yeah, okay, this is really interesting. These storms are moving this way. These storms were moving down towards Jamestown with that tornado warning, but they are now kind of moving this way too. They might be joining forces a little bit rather than one cluster of storms blowing the other one up. We'll see. Strong hail potential, though, from this cell in a couple different places in northern Stutsman County. Pingree and Buchanan, you have a hail core right over your area right now. It's stretching right along the Highway 281 corridor. This is moving off to the east, I do believe. Let me turn on the storm markers on this radar here so I can look at the cells, hail. Okay, so here I'll track the hail cells, the rotating storms. We got a 1-inch hail marker on this Buchanan cell that's working its way. And let's see if it'll show me the movement. Nope. Hail estimate 1.25 inches. The hail probability about 40% for severe hail of 1 inch or greater. So 40% of this area you see in blue might be getting that 1 inch or greater sized hail. As we take a look at this storm, there's a little spinny icon. That's a mesocyclone that's showing up in that particular radar scan there. And as we take a look up to the north here, what was moving out of the Carrington area towards Kensal, no longer showing a hail marker on it or whatnot. So just some very heavy rain, maybe some small hail working its way into Kensal. Here's the next hail core moving out of Foster County through northern parts of Stutsman County, north of Woodworth. That's moving off to the east as well. That one could be having some 1 inch diameter hail or 1 1/4 inch diameter hail. Latest look at this storm south of Bowdoin, south of Sykeston, south of the 200 corridor, a little bit of a fish hook on the back end of that. Which could indicate some rotation, but we're not seeing a marker of rotation, but we are seeing a 1 inch hail core. Here's the song and dance on that. Medina, you're going to be seeing some storms working your way towards your area, but they're going to likely be to the south of you. You see these puppies here? These are mainly moving almost due east through parts of southern Kidder County. Now we'll keep our eyes on that. Jennifer, thanks for your stars. Joe, new pics are available. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Everybody say thanks, Joe, because Joe rocks. Um, he is a stellar web designer. That's all I gotta say. Supercell south of Hazleton with a severe thunderstorm warning, main threat golf ball hail now. So that's the Hazleton area. As we look at the new tornado warning just north of Moffett, spotter confirmed a tornado on the ground. That was at 11:15. That was a while ago. So some of the news I'm getting from their office in Bismarck is fresh, but not as fresh as some of the storms that we have. And it does look like going to be adding. Well, that was a while ago. They added Barnes, Griggs, Sargent, and Ransom to the tornado watch until 1 o'clock. So those counties that I told you about getting added got added. All right, Joe, you got a thumbs up there, buddy. Let me go ahead and take a look at these pictures that we got coming in here. I got to open another window, and if you bear with me, I appreciate all of you for uploading photos. And oh my gosh. Okay, we might have to take a look at these right now. There's still a tornado warning in the Bismarck area. We do have storms that are continuing through the area. There's a rotating storm in northern Stutsman County called a mesocyclone. It's a weaker one, but it's still there. This cluster of storms now moving east-southeast. So if you're on the Highway 200 corridor, you're in the ball game here. Mackville, southern Nelson County out towards Northwood, seeing some storms. I think they stay to your south. What about it, eh? Let's take a look at this new photos and videos uploaded at hutchesweather.com, where you get to help Hutch cover the weather by sharing your weather information. Some creepy crawlers in the skies over Dilworth. This was from June 20th, a week ago, right? It's the 27th, but those crawlers were just amazing, rumbling through the skies of the FM area as Hutch was at the car show in Minneapolis covering the storms here. Jen, thank you. Look at this beast by the Costco in North Bismarck. Okay, so we saw the storm move through the north part of the metro area. Are you kidding me? Look at that. This is by Costco. Mariah Kotzik, thank you for sharing and uploading your photo. This was taken at Friday at 10 p.m. So that storm was on the north side of Bismarck. Just look at that. And behind it, blue skies, if you can believe it. Somebody's asking Scott what that means. I'm not sure what Scott said. I can't keep up with all of these comments on here. Will this be near Erskine tonight? Okay, so let's see. In Minnesota, the chance is likely going to be more south. From North Bismarck, Adam, thank you. I asked and you delivered. Thank you for uploading your photo from North Bismarck. This is again of that same one on the north side. This was at 10 p.m. again. So 2 confirmed snapshots of that beast just on the north side of town. I don't know if you heard there was damage there. I'm not a news station, but if there was damage in north parts of Bismarck, let me know. There are a lot of homes and communities north of the interstate there, just north of Bismarck as you go north on 83 on both sides of Highway 83. And the building and whatnot has extended all the way up there. From my days out in Bismarck, it was continuing to grow, and it's only more bigger now. Gabby T Productions, can you look at Sargent County? Yes, I can look at Sargent County. But first, I'm going to take a look at, we did get this is a video. This is a video of the Bismarck tornado from near the Horizon Middle School. This was at 10 p.m. It's the same storm, and oh my goodness, look at the constant lightning with that as it's working its way through. That was not a small tornado. That one is more like what we would call a tube-sized tornado, not a rope-type tornado, and you can clearly see its contact with the ground. Anything in Oaks area besides some thunder and lightning? Yes, there is. Let's get back to it. Right now, moving towards Oaks, some thunder and lightning. There is a strong cell that's starting to try to, fester up a little bit near the Edgeley area. So as we look into Edgeley and Lemoore and Berlin, Dickey, we do have a stronger cell that's starting to develop. This does have some threat for some hail, but it looks like under 1 inch in diameter. That hail cell, let's see if I can get its movement here. Dun, dun, dun. There it is. Now you can kind of see what the radar thinks the storm motion is, moving more in a northeasterly fashion. So this is what's heading in the general direction of your area in and around Oaks. So in Oaks, most of the strong storms are mainly north of you, thunder and lightning right now, but some of the stuff up to the north of you is moving in your general direction. So I will keep you posted there. Enderlin, I got to tell you, Thoughts and prayers go out to you and your entire community. And that also goes for Valley City, for Jamestown, for Spiritwood, all areas impacted 1 week ago. This has got to be scary. That's why I'm here to pick out the storms that I'm most concerned about, tell you where they are, tell you where they're going. This is non-severe stuff right now, moving towards Enderlin and towards Lisbon. It's okay. This cell out here is a little stronger. It's not rotating. I showed a little bit ago, if you're in Enderlin, Tower City, Valley City, or Spiritwood, that the energy in the atmosphere as we go into the Red River Valley really drops off. So we'll see if these storms continue to weaken in intensity or if they live. I've seen them do both. When they enter areas of lower energy, they can die very quickly, like the showers we see and saw up north near Grand Forks. All of that activity really diminished in intensity once it entered into this area. This is starting to diminish in intensity as it moves into the area. However, this cluster of storms here, it might be getting organized into a complex of thunderstorms. You see this comma shape to it? A little area of lower pressure developing here is called a meso low, a small scale low. And if that happens, this thing could suck air in from the south. As long as there's an inflow or a jet coming in from the south to feed it moist air all night, this one could continue to blow into that oncoming air and lifeblood, if you will. Okay, thanks, Holly. I appreciate your kind words, and thanks to all of you. Thanks from Enderlin. You're the reason me and mine felt safe. Megan, thank you. Yeah, it's not fun to think about. We all do the best we can, and I'm sure that family did the best that they could too, but it's hard to think about, so pardon me. So we do have some storms moving into the Enderlin area in Berlin here. This is a hail marker on that particular cell. As we look at it, the hail probability is calculated by the radar at 0 for severe hail. The risk of severe hail, severe is 1-inch hail. If it falls on your tomatoes, even penny-size hail is severe to you, right? But as far as meteorology goes, most of the damage comes from 1-inch hail and larger. That's what's going on there. A little hail cell that will be moving towards Lisbon and Fort Ransom. Is there rotation in that particular cell? Let me go ahead and take a quick peek for you just so we can keep on top of things. And I'm going to use the radar down south here. Let's go. Why not? Aberdeen. A little bit closer to Aberdeen than we are to way up by Mayville. Okay, so what's moving through the Oaks and Edgeley area? All unidirectional flow away from the radar. This is the south wind, or that low-level jet I was talking about. You can see it on the radar. Where the colors get brighter is where the stronger winds are. So closer to the radar, weaker winds, and then bright as we go away. That's a strong inflow going up into these storms. So that could help them maintain some intensity heading into the late night hours. The radar in Aberdeen is showing as far as the cloud tops go with these storms. Look at these babies out here, out by Linton and Hazelton, Moffett, Braddock. I call them HMB, just used to it, I guess. As we go down here, let's look at the storm that's moving into the Kidder County area, northern Kidder, Southern Wells, 50,000 footer. Jamestown, you got a 45 to 50,000 footer over you. Macville. So these are not wimpy storms. These are tall thunderstorms with quite a bit of energy. Earlier, I would not have been surprised if a couple of them did bolster up beyond 50,000 feet earlier tonight. But there was something wrong with this algorithm here that wasn't working earlier when I wanted to check that. So we have 50,000 foot thunderstorms. The tall ones are the ones that have the risk for hail and also have the best chance at causing a spinning updraft. Any rotation near Nome. We have very heavy rain and thunder. Shalon, thanks for your question. Let's go ahead and clear off this view. That's the cloud tops. Storm relative velocity, I think, is coming up here. We go back to the radar, and Nome is kind of one of those no man's lands. You know, let's, speaking of which, it gets a little bit far away from any radar site, which is what I mean. Not that it's nobody would want to be there. That's not what I mean. So the radar data gets a little bit more muddled in those areas. so we do have same thing goes for Enderlin. You do have some thunder and lightning, and as far as shear goes, I'm not seeing any on this radar display. This is getting a little bit bad out by the Jamestown area as far as the shear marker goes. Let me look at two different radars for that. Here's the Bismarck radar, showing motion away from Bismarck and motion towards near Bismarck, Jamestown rather, near Jamestown and the reservoir north. There's some increasing spin in that storm. Let's look at it from another radar view, and then we'll look and see how high in the atmosphere that spin is evident. There we go. Look at that. Okay, so there is definitely some shear showing up in the Jamestown area. If you're in Jamestown, north side of town, seek shelter in the interior room of the lowest floor possible. There is some tight rotation starting to pick back up. As according to the National Weather Service, we have a severe thunderstorm warning moving east at 26 miles per hour. Hail to 1.5 inches and 60-mile-per-hour winds. But this rotation marker did just start showing up in a little bit more veracity. It's a little bit louder. It's a little bit more clear right here, North Jamestown. There is some pretty significant shear in the atmosphere. I don't know if we have spotters out and about in town. I'm certain in a populated town like Jamestown, we would hear something if something was on the ground. But the cloud above you, way up high, and this is pretty high in the atmosphere. You're a long ways away from the radar sites, so as far as Mayville goes, the rotation is a mile plus in the air. That means it's got a long ways to go to make contact with the ground, but it is some tight rotation nonetheless. So please keep that in mind. Now, as we take a look at the rotation, there is a little bit showing up, working off into the western reaches of Barnes County here in North Dakota. So these are the same areas as some of the tornadic activity that took place a week ago. It's just best to seek shelter in that interior room on the lowest floor, sturdy structure if you're at the reservoir. And now, if you happen to be out in the area of Lake Ashtabula, it's now time to start thinking about getting into a shelter, into something more sturdy than if it's a camper that you're staying in on Lake Ashtabula. For the time being, 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail. I'm going to take a look at some of the wind gust reports here from these storms. Let's see what's happening right now. Here's a look at the current gusts going on with the storm. 32 miles per hour in and around Jamestown, 28 in the Carrington area. Same thing for Cooperstown. And peak gusts so far today happening in and around the storms from Wells County and Sheridan County all the way in towards Stutzman County. 46-mile-per-hour gusts there. Linton, 48 miles per hour gusts measured out at your particular area. So let's go ahead back to the radar data. And again, thanks to all of you for your support, and thanks to all of you for uploading your photos to hutchesweather.com. Radar. And let's go to the regular radar data here. So we're going to go to single site. We do have some intensification of these storms down here in southeast North Dakota, Lemoore down towards Oaks. So I had just said, didn't look that bad right now. And now I'm starting to see an increase in the intensity of the cells that are near Lemoore right now. There's more lightning, and that's often the case as well when these storms intensify. Cullum, you got a thunder shower near you. 1 minute ago, a pretty loud thunderbolt worked its way through, but not severe, a little below severe criteria. No warning in and around the Dickey County activity that we see here, but I will turn on these cells and see which way they're moving now. We did just look at this a bit ago, and the movement of these cells is towards Lemoore and Verona. And Verona, we got a pretty hot little cell just on the outside of your area, heading in the general direction of Fort Ransom. So some newer cells forming out here. I'm going to see if I can get better data from them in Aberdeen. It is maybe a little closer than Bismarck and Mayville. And yeah, so those storms are definitely on the south side of the storm. They're getting that south inflow, and they definitely have a little bit more energy now with them. What are the risks and the threats from these storms? Well, they're just firing up and blossoming right now. We'll keep our eyes on the cloud top heights here. I'm going to look at that up north right now. When I say up north, I mean on my other radar monitor here. I've gotten a couple different ones going on here. Echo tops. Oh, no, it's not keeping up with it. This is a composite scan. So I don't think I'm seeing any incredible echo tops in and around Oaks. But once we get up into the Lemoore area between Lemoore and Edgeley, some of those echo tops are a little bit on the higher side and approaching 55,000 feet. So 55,000 feet, that's done by an updraft that's pretty strong on that storm. And that storm is rapidly intensifying. Edgeley, Gackle, Wishick, all these areas seeing some stout thunderstorms. Your tornado warning in Burleigh County has finally dissipated and disappeared off of Hutch's radar map here. It's replaced by a thunderstorm warning. So let's go back out to the Bismarck radar. We got another cell north of Bismarck that looks like it was showing up. That was all the way from Aberdeen. And there it is, that little blip on the radar screen there. So there's another cell trying to form north of Bismarck right now. At this particular time, we do have another stout cell moving out of southern and eastern Burleigh County heading in towards Napoleon. That one is moving at a fairly good clip of about 30 miles per hour. And also Hazleton and Linton seeing a storm making its way through that area heading in towards Wishick. So that's what we have going on in south central North Dakota. Another thunderstorm warning for you folks in northern parts of Kidder County, and this also includes Wells County south of Bowdoin. We do see this area here that has storms moving off to the east southeast. Let's see the rate of speed and what's going on with this. Moving is 20 miles per hour, almost due east. There is max DBZ, that's the reflectivity, and the bigger the raindrop or hailstone, the more energy. 65 is a pretty high number. So the max DBZ means that that storm could be producing some hail. Now there's a warning for that storm for 1 1/4 inch diameter hail and 60 miles per hour wind. And that's heading in the general direction of northwest Stutsman County right now. Stutsman County, we got this huge box here for a huge thunderstorm warning for a huge area. Not everybody in this area is going to see severe weather. It's quiet in Carrington right now and quiet south. But as we look to the east, there's some thunderstorms. Are these thunderstorms severe? I don't think they're producing much in the way of hail, but I'll take a look at the velocity. Now, this storm moving out of Jamestown, I told you there was some pretty good shear and spin in that one. And we'll look again now as it moves towards Spiritwood to keep my eyes on the areas impacted last week. I just want to make sure that we're kind of covering our bases. If you are in this area, though, I would really... I would recommend seeking shelter in an interior room, get to the lowest floor. There is some pretty tight rotation and you are in a tornado watch. Red is motion away from the radar and green is motion toward the radar. And the radar I'm using here is going to be the Bismarck radar. So what this means is we have some very strong winds that are blowing away from the radar south of Jamestown, and in town it's blowing towards the radar. That is shear. There's some spin in that storm. This storm is moving in the general area of the airport in Jamestown and on the east side of town here. Let me go ahead and take a look and see if we're seeing any confirmation of any kind of rotation up here. It's going to be hard to see. Looks like we got a little hail core here in the gray. And this area here where there was shear, there's some red up in there. So let's take a look at that shear marker again. And there's a little green or a lowering of the correlation coefficient there, that could indicate that there might be some odd objects or targets in the air over the area. As we, all this blue, ignore that. There's a hail marker that's causing some problems with that downstream. Let's go ahead and look at the storm relative velocity again. I'm going to pull this over to another radar. Let's go to Mayville and see if it's seeing the same thing in the same spot. Couple of funky beams as these radars are pointing right at each other. In Bismarck and in the Jamestown area. Here we go. We do have a little bit of a shear marker evident in this. We can't use these bad beams or whatnot to utilize data, but just on the east side of Jamestown, which is where the Bismarck radar showed it, there is some shear and spin in the storm there. So with regard to that warning, that is in effect for the Jamestown area and points east in rural Stutsman County until we get to 12:15, 1 minute, and then it's set to expire. The main trigger for this warning, that storm's already long gone, but there's another one that's kind of come through from the north and from the west as we've gone through the last couple of scans. So take a look at my pictures, see if we've got any. If you have a tornado, if you have a report of hail or anything, pass it along to me. I'll pass it along to the Weather Service. And speaking thereof, checking in on the Weather Service in Grand Forks and Bismarck and Aberdeen. Some minor flooding being reported in and around the Jamestown area from that. So that's what I'm seeing from the Bismarck National Weather Service Forecast Office. If you are in Linton, there's another storm moving through that particular area. There is shear on it, spin right here on the south side, motion towards Bismarck, motion away. Again, right on the Highway 13 corridor. That's exactly where that last one did. Yeah, American Farmer, it's up to the Weather Service on whether they want it. They're looking at different things, and they have that they're looking at more things than Hutch is, because they have everything in front of them on different layers and slices of the atmosphere, and they do an awesome job. So that is a dangerous storm, though, working its way through the Jamestown area. And I do think that the proper thing to do is just seek shelter in that sturdy structure and stay away from the windows. And it's moving out of town now on the east side of town. And look at this moving down the Linton area. This is picking up in intensity. And I don't know if we've got ourselves a tornado on the ground there. Let me look at some of these. In the same area of the spin, we've got a area of blue, which could be some debris being picked up by that particular signature. And in the same vicinity, we have some higher differences in targets, which could indicate that something maybe was spinning around there and creating some shear and spin and debris. So I'll take a look at a couple of DOT cams at the dark hours. I usually tell myself, don't do it, but sometimes I do it. And so here I go again. We're going to go take a look at the DOT cams and look down into the Linton area first here. As we take a look at this from the north, we're not going to see the rotation from the north, that's for sure, but there's some lightning going on. I mean, look at the lightning from that one. Wow. Low looking clouds there from the Hazleton area on the backside of that particular storm system. And you're looking at mainly road there, though, so that didn't help me too awful much. And I don't have anything south of there. I do have something, well, maybe a little bit south. Let's go here. Wishick. Okay, if either that's hail and water or it's just water. Yeah, I think that must have been just water. So a lot of heavy rain making its way through. That just looked like the street was covered with ice there. At dark 30, it's hard to see that. As we go way far south, east of Ashley, let's take a look at what we're seeing there. And again, it looks like grass on the side of the road, and the road looks fairly quiet there, and the weather looks a little bit quiet there. Looking into Jamestown now. James River Valley, and on the east side of town is where Hutch was seeing some of that rotation. And those look like some big targets there on the camera. I think maybe some hail falling. Yep, that looks like some big hail falling on the east side of Jamestown. This photo taken by the DOT cam at 11:50, or yeah, I think it says 11:56. So maybe the hail knocked it out, and it isn't updating as frequently. Big time raindrops nonetheless. In and around the east side of Jamestown. And then as we take a look at the radar here, let's make sure I'm looking at the right thing here. Okay. In Stutsman County, we do have that cell moving its way into the Spiritwood area. Let me see if I've got a camera that might get me up just a little bit farther. Nope, I just don't. That one? No. Okay, so let's look in northern Stutsman County in the Carrington area. This is Bowden. And things look to be a little bit quieter there for the time being. And there is a storm that was warned. You are in a warning in Bowden, but the storm is exiting your area. And that's moving down into northwest Stutsman County for yet another round of storms for that area. What's going on the radar as we look out towards Valley City? Let's get back towards that. I'm not seeing anything on the DOT cams right now that's really providing me much clue as to what's going on there. So let's get back to the radar. As of right now, there are no tornado warnings. That's good. East of Jamestown, there is a little rotation showing up in that cell, and it may even be more than a little. Let's go to the regular radar data here and show you what we've got going on. This is the radar like you might see on a weather app or on the news at night, and it's called a composite radar scan. So it gives us an idea of what's going on in between radar sites. This is garden variety showers here. That's a stout little cluster of storms moving into the Northwood area right now. Where we see increased lightning, we can guarantee you that those storms are a lot more active with their updrafts and downdrafts. How about Sibley? Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you. Thunder starting to roll into Valley City. Thank you. Message retracted. Okay, so as we take a look, sorry about that. All right. So I had mentioned that the Lake Ashtabula area is going to be seeing this activity, and it does look like it's starting to make its way in. And here we hit at the 12 o'clock time frame, and I think I said 1 o'clock or so for Grand Forks and 1 and thereafter. It's going to be close to 1 o'clock before these storms make their way in. This activity here is basically just swinging its way down toward the east and southeast along the Highway 200 corridor. There is a hail marker on the cell near the Northwood area. There could be some hail from that, but it doesn't look to be severe. North of Valley City, what's over you right now shows up as not too bad. When I go to the single site radar data, though, it looks, you know, Daisy, Rogers, we got non-severe storm cells right now over that particular area. Now, as we go out into Stutsman County, what's moving out of this area in Stutsman County is mean business. So I'm going to sneak back to the radar in Mayville, if I can. All right. So yeah, now from the Mayville radar, this storm does have a little bit more intensity to it. And what's moving out through Spiritwood now looks like it's lost a little bit. It might be collapsing that hail core a little bit, and that's good. And maybe some of these are taking the inflow out of this storm and robbing it of its warm, humid air riding into it as the storms near Lemoore and Lisbon intensify just a bit. If you are in Valley City and near Lake Ashtabula, the storms over you right now are non-severe, and it looks like the storms moving your way into western parts of Barnes County are losing some of their steam as well. And then we do have this storm down here near Linton. This one was showing some signs of rotation as it was working its way across. Let me go ahead and load that up real quickly here as I take a look at that velocity data. That's too far away. That's from the Mayville area. Got to keep switching my radars across here, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so there is some still weak shear showing up on the south side, and you see this kind of outflow boundary here. This storm has burped out, has a downdraft coming through. Sometimes this cold, dense air blowing out of the back of a thunderstorm from the hail and rain core can make its way around the storm and then cut off the inflow a little bit and kind of stop the storm from tornadoing. So at any rate, that storm there has a severe thunderstorm warning. The risks for that one are until 12:45 for 1.5 inch diameter hail and 60 mile per hour winds. A number of tornadoes in and around the Bismarck area. We've shown you the video and images from some of those. As we take a look at the radar now moving into the Red River Valley, we do have some storms pushing into western parts of Cass County. Fargo, the lightning and thunder with these storms is diminishing. As I was analyzing the energy in the atmosphere a little bit earlier, the energy in the Red River Valley was a lot lower. And with any luck at all, as these things start sliding into the valley, they're going to diminish in intensity. Are we in the clear for Jamestown? The answer is it's looking a lot better. This moving out and what was north of you now moving in towards Wimbledon and into northwestern Barnes, and what's behind it is falling apart. So I think this storm out in front of it robbed some of the energy and the inflow, and these I think are absolutely taking that away from these line of storms back to the north. So we're starting to see what I would call kind of a rain shield form on the north side of this, and then this was looking like a comma shape to it here, maybe a complex that just is not showing the organization that might allow this to last all night. This is a strong storm that's starting to develop, though, down by the Lisbon area. and in and around Gwinner. So if you are camping out by Fort Ransom again, I had someone asking me what's going on in Fort Ransom. I haven't forgot about you. How's Castleton looking? Castleton, some storms in your area are moving in from Barnes County. It's thunder, a little bit of thunder, but only a little bit. Non-severe at this time. In Fort Ransom, if you're out there camping, someone said about 1,000 campers out in the area. These storms are increasing in intensity right now. If I turn on the cellular data here and the cell trackers, I can look at a little bit of the risks that some of them are starting to fire up. And they've stayed in this same shape for quite some time now as they've worked their way through. And when I see this, where I've got one cell moving this way, one cell moving north, this one moving north, this one moving south, it means that these storms are just forming. When they're just forming and going up, they sometimes look like they're moving the wrong way to the radar, and they can fool the radar. So if you have an app and it has these markers on it, don't always go by what they look like here. You got to look at the motion or the loop of the radar data. I'll see if I can load up a couple of them. It'll take it a bit of time on this particular radar view, but you'll see these storms have kind of been festering and swelling like an old corn on the toe or something like that. And as they fester and swell, some of them are showing some hail marker potential right now. The storm moving towards Elliott has a 20% chance of severe hail, so that's a pretty low chance. And the hail size about a ½ inch in diameter. Now it's kind of trying to load up some of these radar data views here for us. And as you can see, these storms are expanding and spreading from west to east. So that's what's going on in this cluster of storms here in southeast North Dakota. So Lemoore County, Dickey County, and on into Sargent and Ransom counties. We do have some strong but not severe storms. There is one hail marker out here that also has shown up on the latest scan, but you can kind of depict or see the motion of these storms ever so slowly working their way from west to east across the area. So I would believe that west to east marker here that says it's moving east at 30 miles per hour. That's kind of been the rule for some of the other storms on the north side. I'm going to stop it from looping now. And now let's tell you where they're going. 30 miles per hour to the east. So I'm going to erase all this nonsense off of here. And now let's track these. Non-severe right now. Not as windy right now, but they look a little bit on the mean side and the growing side on the radar here. Moving east at 30 miles per hour. That will put this Lisbon area storm and areas south. If I'm just going to look at the cell, got to redo that. There we go. Moving east at 30 will put it up to areas north of Windermere as we go towards the next hour or so. So areas north of Windermere over the next 1 hour. Milner, rural areas north of you, going to see that heavy rainstorm with some small hail potential right now work its way over your area. As we look out towards Lemoore, this cell is going to be working its way off to the east at about 30 miles. Oopsies, sorry. I think Hutch is ready for a piece of pizza. But I'll stick with you here. 35 mile per hour movement. Enderlin, we're talking about 1:25 a.m. arrival time. Fort Ransom area, about 12:57. Right now, that particular cell is not severe, but some small hail could be possible from it as well. If you're in Verona and Lisbon, this storm in Verona will be moving in the general direction of the Lisbon area as we go through the next hour or so as well. New warning for Wishick for the cell moving out of the Ashley area. 1.5 inch diameter hail, 60 mile per hour winds are the main threats for that storm. There's been some weak rotation with it. The tornado watch is still in effect for the Emmons County area. As well as we take a look at that tornado watch, you can tell where the risk is going to be for any spin tonight. And this is in effect until 1 o'clock. So for the next half hour, and then these drop off. It does look like we got a thunderstorm watch for a narrow band, or is that yeah, that's a thunderstorm watch. That's pretty interesting. Let me see what's going on with that. Or is that a warning? Nope, thunderstorm watch for Eureka, South Dakota, just a couple of counties until 2 a.m., 80 mile per hour wind gusts possible, and max tops of clouds and thunderstorms, 55,000 feet. It's a standalone 2-county severe thunderstorm watch, probably issued by Aberdeen, and rightfully so, for the storms heading your way out of North Dakota. All right. Where are they heading? What's the energy look like in the atmosphere? Let's take a quick look at the small scale analysis of convective energy in the atmosphere. It's diminishing a little bit out to the west, still low here in the valley. So as storms enter into this lower energy air mass here, the desire to keep a rising motion is not going to be very good. Here's the thing. As this whole weather making system that's moving through tonight moves through, it's going to carry the south winds out ahead of it. And so some of the energy and moisture that you see here may shift a little bit to the east. So let's look at the latest forecast model here and get a quick peek for you and for you and for you. And oh yeah, you too, to see where this puppy might be heading. So now, what's this model look like? Help me. Does it look like it's starting off good? Yeah, it's not too bad. It's got a cluster of storms about where the cluster of storms is now. This might be better than the last run of this model. It shows them moving straight through Grand Forks and Fargo. I don't think so. I think with what we're seeing, they're moving more southeast. So let's go to a different model. Here's another one. Let's see what this one says. This one was run at about the 7 o'clock time frame, and it showed the storms bowing through Grand Forks, which did not happen, and moving through the Fargo area at about, what time is that? That's 3. That's 3 a.m. That one's out to lunch a little bit. Here's another model. How's it? Oh my, that one looks more like it. This is exactly where they came from. It doesn't have enough in the Bismarck-Mandan area that happened tonight, but it was on the right idea. And then it has it bowing and blowing through Fargo and really diminishing in intensity as it moves through into the wee hours of the night. For you Lakes country folks, that's important, that model, because it started out with the best and closest to what we've experienced tonight. That's why Hutch is putting more weight into that one. That's how meteorologists sometimes analyze models and why they pick one over the other. It's called, is it initializing? Okay, this is another one that looks very similar. And it has the storms kind of diminishing as they go through Grand Forks, East Grand Forks. Not saying you won't get anything there, but the better chance will be down towards Thompson and Reynolds and those areas. It does have a bowing segment, that backward C shape to it. So as it works its way through, wind might be the main threat as we go into the nighttime hours. This model has it marching on, but here's the problem with this model. The only storm that's marching on right now is this one, and it's moving this way. So now casting is what we're going to do. So as we take a look at that, let me see if there's any model that shows. Let's try this one. We haven't looked at this one yet. Yeah, nope. That don't look good to me. Not even close. So I'm not going to do too much more of this. Let's look at this, though. Nope, let's not. Let's call that good. Okay, so what we've got is what's on the radar, and the model's showing a southeasterly trajectory to these storms. So we go back to our radar, and we'll take a look at where they are now. And this is a look at the energy in the atmosphere. As they move into the Red River Valley, the energy diminishes. Some of these storms could last a bit, but it does look like their strength should wane. That's just Hutch analyzing things. I could look over the Storm Prediction Center's discussion here, but from what I'm seeing, the trend on the radar here, I'm going to pull you up to the north one. Tornado watch in effect until 1. Thunderstorm watch in effect until 2. These storms moving out of Bismarck here that were tornadic. 80-mile-per-hour wind gust potential, says the National Weather Service in Aberdeen. And as we look at this storm here making its way through the Napoleon area and on its way down to Wishick, really Linton and Strasburg again, that's a pretty stout cell. Well, the color you're looking at is not the normal radar. That's the echo top. How high is the cloud top on that one? It's a 51,000 foot cloud top to 52,000 foot cloud top. A new warning has just been issued for the Wishick area and out towards Hague and Zeeland as well. For that storm as it works its way in that general direction. That storm did have some evidence of some shear and rotation. This isn't to scare you. It's just trying to be factual about what we're seeing. I'm going to switch over to the radar over here in Aberdeen. It's going to be a little closer. And Bismarck might be close to, yeah, there's still some weak spin. And the pixelated data, don't mind that. It's just we're looking for reds next to greens on that one. So what we are seeing is a risk of some severe thunderstorms, the strongest of which are right here, and likely moving south and east. Now, what's going on with the cells here, though? If you look at these movements through Lisbon and through these areas, it looks like more of an easterly direction towards Fargo. So here is what that means in the grand scheme of things. We have a flood warning that's been issued by the National Weather Service for our viewers, and it looks like an advisory rather than a warning. My apologies. A flood advisory issued for Jamestown for likely some urban flooding, minor flooding, low-lying and poor drainage areas. This is in effect until 3 o'clock in the morning. Sounds like I've got some new information coming in here, so pardon me while I gather that. And what's the weather in Moorhead? I'm getting to it, Brandon. Let's take a look. It's going to be windy and here's some rain. Doing a lot of coverage here. What hits Moorhead is likely going to be less significant than what has happened all night out to the west. And I'm very happy about that. Here's why I say that. Hail markers have gone down in the last 2 hours from 2 and 3 inch markers to 1 inch markers. So the risk of large, huge hail, and as the Storm Prediction Center called it, what did they call it? Oh yeah, giant hail. Somebody said Richard. Is Richard here? Storms at night, freaking out a little bit because you can't see them. That's what I'm here for. And what I'm doing right now is analyzing a look at what these things are doing now and where they're going so we can do what's called nowcasting. So here we go. The absolute strongest cells right now are these guys right here in the Napoleon area, in the Linton area, and heading down for you folks out here in and around, ping pong ball size hail. So those of you in McIntosh and Logan counties and Emmons County still, again, unbelievably, are under the gun until the time frame of 1:15 in the morning. So that's where that is. Now let's go over to my other radar here and let me do some nowcasting. This nonsense here is moving out to the south and to the east. You're going to get some rain in Grand Forks. There is a big looking ugly rain thing moving into the Fargo area here, but it's not severe. So the energy in the atmosphere, as we just discussed, a little bit lower. There is energy here and here. So these cells here and where they're moving will make a big difference as to who sees what. Here's that Boeing line segment that the models had. These have not been severe for a little while now. So what's blowing through Mayville and Hunter is heading into the FM area. And we're going to get some thunder, some lightning, some rain. But as far as the tornadoes and the monster hail goes, I'm not seeing that. The best chance at continued severe weather will be from Jamestown and south. And I don't think Jamestown is out of the woods with the rain yet, but as far as the severe risk, it's passing pretty quickly. Remember that little kidney bean out there that was just forming just a minute ago or a few minutes ago in the Bismarck area, still rearing its ugly head out there near the Bismarck area at this time. So, but what I'm seeing, even in western parts of Cass County and Barnes County now and Lake Ashtabula, a lot of lightning with this stuff on this north side here as this storm is, I believe, collapsing now, and that's working its way through. If I look at the cloud tops on this, if it'll show them to me here. Dun, 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 dun. Let's try it. All right. It's not going to do it. Let me see if I can make it do it. Would you please do it? Show me your cloud tops. Here, let's try that. You going to do it? No. Okay, so I'm not going to get cloud tops on this one. What we're noticing is a decrease in the intensity of the hail size markers with these storms. We're also noticing a decrease in the intensity of the wind potential, except for a few of these storms on the far southern fringes. So as we look at the radar here, and I'll go to the single site radar in Bismarck right now and analyze these strongest storms moving through Ashley and Wishick. These still have a kidney bean shape. They still are in the tornado watch environment. There has been some shear on these from time to time. So if you're in the Ashley area, If you're in the Wishick area, if you're in Zeeland, these areas are in the path of some pretty stout thunderstorms. Lair, these are going to pass down to the south and the east. The motion from the Weather Service radar says east at 20 miles per hour, but it's a little south of east as well. And a quick look at the velocity signature on these two storms here, since they are in the tornado watch area, it's prudent to look and see. And I am seeing a pretty decent marker of shear north of Hague making its way off to the east slowly at about 20 miles per hour. So this rotating part of the thunderstorm making its way east-southeast at 20 miles per hour will have it in the middle of nowhere. But if you're at Green Lake, Wishick area, heading out towards Ashley, that's where that storm is roaming right now. And wherever it may roam is where it will roam. And it's making its way south. As we take a look out in our neck of the woods, we'll switch back over to the Mayville radar here, and we're going to go back to the regular radar data. This can tell me a little bit of something here. Whoop. Okay, so what we have going on with the radar moving into Fargo, this is wind blowing towards Mayville. So we got this southeast wind, and that wind is pretty strong at that low levels, and it's feeding into the storms on the backside. Everything's all but done in Devil's Lake, Lakota, New Rockford. You are done. Carrington, you still have some exiting storms making their way through your area, but they're on their way out, and that's good news for you. And as we take a look at the regular radar data from this radar, you can see what is heading in the general direction of Fargo as I turn on the cellular data so we can take a look at the motion of some of these storms and what we're seeing. This little cell here near Grand Forks is apparently moving at about 50 miles an hour right now. I don't think so, but it does have a hail marker on it. No severe hail, but there could be some small hail, a half inch or smaller, making its way through areas south of Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, and north of Thompson right now. So that little cell is making its way off to the east. There's thunder showers in Thief River, St. Hilaire, all the way down towards Fergus Falls, and Fertile, Climax, Crookston, Beltrami, some showers moving in, non-severe. The risk of severe is extremely low the way it looks right now. Red Lakes area, Beltrami County hit so terribly hard. You got a line of storms. These have not been severe all night. Little bit of lightning, little bit of wind, and some good old-fashioned rain from those puppies is what I expect. Here's what I think. Based on the movement of these storms more off to the east, I'm going to use my crayon here, and I'm going to say these storms are going to continue their path to the east. That means Fargo does have a chance for some stout storms, but the risk of severe may be waning a bit. These storms here are moving in the general direction of Sabin, Enderlin, and these areas again. This isn't to cause any panic, but I'll be watching them for you. I got meteorologist Tommy Tough Knuckles. What's my batting average? Tommy Tough Knuckles? I haven't measured my batting average for quite a while. MSPN Digital Television tuning in after our baseball broadcast. Thanks for being on top of the North Dakota weather. Thank you. And thanks for broadcasting baseball. Where was it today? My house is seeing lightning. And meteorologist Tommy Tough Knuckles. My knuckles are kind of stiff. I've been sitting by the computer working this keyboard and mouse too awful long here. So here's the deal. If you're in the path of these storms right now, the main threat is hail. The rotation in these cells here has not been really a factor, and I will show you that right now as we switch it over. These storms are moving in the general vicinity of Fargo, and many of the models had them moving more south. But because most of the current radar data is showing an easterly tilt to these, I think these will be easterly. That means in Detroit Lakes, in Fergus Falls, Pelican Rapids, storms will be moving your way. The risk of severe looks to be winding down very quickly. I'm happy to report. Edgeley, a whole bunch of lightning going on in that storm near you. Usually when we see an increase in that, the storm strength might pick up a little bit. There's one hail marker out here of 1 inch in diameter near the Lisbon area. Pardon my Crayola here. Let me see if I can erase that. Okay, there we go. Ah, did it again. All right. I'm trying to turn my crayon off. It won't erase anymore. I think my computer is saying I'm tired too. I need to take a break, but let's go ahead and take a look. Tower City points north. We have a cell that's moving in the general direction of Arthur and Page. It has some small soft hail with it. and pardon my Crayola mark over the top of the screen. As we look into Lisbon, there could be some hail up to around 3/4 of an inch to nickel in size, maybe 1 inch in diameter, and on a very isolated location down towards Milner and Foreman. These are also moving to the east. Wyndmere, you'll be in the path of these. These are pretty slow moving storms, moving only at about 20 miles per hour on average, as you can see. Lemoore and points north has some stormy activity. Edgeley has some stormy activity trying to just form and develop there. See this little hole or bite out of the radar data? Well, I'm going to have to switch radars to get out towards Edgeley and Cullum. And then the big winners here, the strongest cells continue to be south of Bismarck, Emmons County. And we're talking about you folks down here in the Ashley-Wishick area with these two storms that continue to scroll their way to the south and to the east. Now, this is moving at 22 miles per hour, so it's crawling again. And that one has had a history of some shear or spin in it over the past few scans. That's what we have going on right now. I don't expect widespread severe, and as we take a look at what's going on, it does look like we've got no hail markers right now. It might be a good opportunity for Hutch Johnson to fill up his glass of water, grab a slice of pizza, and be right back. How far away from Fargo are these storms? If they're moving to the east and northeast, there's some garden variety rain showers out here in Fargo. If you're in the Fargo, West Fargo area, it's 29 miles away, moving at about 20 miles an hour to 30 miles per hour. So about an hour away. That puts them up between 1 and 2 a.m. That sounds pretty familiar. And that's what we were talking about earlier. These moving at about 20 miles per hour here will be pushing in the general direction of you folks out here in the Lisbon area right now. And as we go through time, Richland County, so central Richland County here, as you go through Wyndmere and the like, it's on about the order of an hour away from Wyndmere and about 2 hours away from Wahpeton Breckenridge if it keeps moving in the same direction. This cell says it's moving towards Fargo. I'm not buying that quite yet. I don't think so. These have all stayed and kind of hovered and meandered around in this general area. I feel horrible for Enderlin, Page, and Hope. And Kay, we all do. And that's why we're here, losing some power in Lisbon. Kylie, thank you for your your input rather. I see it's pouring in Gwinner and it's a bad storm. As you zoom in, I just want to point out, let's see if I can erase. There, my pencil erased. Turn the telestrator off. The Marion, Litchfield storm, this one here, that's probably a fairly stout one, could produce some hail, but I'm not seeing a big hail marker on it at this particular time. Let me turn the hail markers back on. Okay. So these are kind of just festering up and flirting right now with severe criteria, not necessarily guaranteed to be severe. So all of these areas here, we could have some gusty winds, 40, 50 miles per hour. Isolated storms could pulse up and become capable of producing some hail. Kirsten Johnson, indeed, it's a late night. And if you're the Kirsten Johnson I'm thinking of, I hope you're having a great night in Arkansas. So thank you so much for joining and thanks for your comments. I'm in Marion, thunder, lightning, rain, coming good. Okay, so as we look at this, I'm not seeing any hail markers on these storms right now from Bismarck. Let me switch. Boy, there's my crayon again. Get out of here, crayon. All right, sorry. I think my computer needs to be reset. The main event is right here, right now. That's very stout thunderstorm activity. We could still see hail over 1 inch in diameter from this storm moving towards Ashley. It means business. Shower and thunderstorm activity taking place in the Southern Valley. And Hutch is going to go take you up to the other radar display now because I've got a backup, and it's a good thing I do because my other one is kind of getting a little bit finicky. I'm going to switch this over to the single site radar data, which I am on here. Let's go back and make sure. We're going to pick out the Mayville radar. That's good. And we have a 1 inch hail marker in the storm cell right here near Lisbon. So you can see that. So you might be getting hail up to around 3/4 of an inch to an inch in isolated places with that cell. That is moving off. All of these little clusters look like they're moving off slowly at only about 5 to 10 miles per hour to the north and east. And then what you see out in western parts of the Cass County area is heading in the general direction of the FM area. So we will first see a little bit of activity pushing in out from toward North Fargo and Hillsboro, out of Barnes County right here. That will go across Hope and Page. As far as hail goes, it doesn't look like it's a huge threat at this particular time. And it looks like the diminishing returns that we're seeing up here in the north mean that the storms are fizzling out on the north side quite precipitously, no pun intended. We do have a cluster of storms in here that are capable of some small hail, southern and eastern Stutsman County, Ypsilanti. You folks down here, as you go down towards maybe Catherine as well in parts of southern Barnes County, Nome, you'll see some activity from this moving off to the east at about 30 miles per hour or so, 25 miles per hour. And yes, Enderlin will have some thunderstorm activity making its way through. The risk of severe right now has diminished greatly, and I'm very happy to report that. Do I need to go? Do I need an umbrella to go out tonight? Well, meteorologist Tommy Tough Knuckles, it just depends on if you don't like getting rained on. And you don't want to run around with a big old tall umbrella on the lightning storm. So that's some other ideas to keep in mind there. So I am restarting my radar display here mighty quietly here so that I can try to get this thing back in order. I do need to set it up just a little bit. Let's see if it wants to work any better now as we're going through. Here's what's going to happen. The showers and storms are going to be working their way in the general direction of the FM area. We do have those moving their way through northern parts of the Cass County area right now. Those are not severe, but there could be some small hail with them. So keep that in mind. I'm still loading up some of my tools from the toolbox here. So let's go here. Manual. Boom. Got a lot of tools that I open up for this. So, there we go. I think I got everything I need. Okay, so here we are. Flood warning. At least it looks like a flood warning. Maybe it's an advisory as well for, yeah, it's a flood advisory issued by the National Weather Service office in Bismarck for you folks in and around Linton and points north. A lot of rain has fallen, 3 to 5 inches estimated by Doppler radar. We showed that earlier. Hutch, hydrate, put some pizza in your pockets and come back. I really like you, Son E Boy 76. I like your way of thinking. How would you feel if I was eating pizza while I was rocking some updates? Now I'm going to go get a break here. Here's what's going to happen. What's going on in Fargo right now? There's nothing strong. There's nothing severe. We could get a burp of wind about 35 miles per hour is my gut feeling. I don't think we're getting hail. We're getting hail in Lisbon. Katie, thank you. There was a 1-inch hail marker. How big do you think it was? It's okay. Bismarck was scary as heck. Thank you very much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So I'm throwing out a thank you to all of you. I'm spelling and typing as fast as I can. Lightning in Wyndmere. Mary Lou, the risk of severe in Wyndmere, not that great. Here's a look at the other radar that I like to use. It's a little bit brighter. It does have brighter colors. It makes it look a little bit more ominous here. The main event is right here, Ashley, heading towards you. That does have a 2-inch hail marker on it still. Do you see all the blue there? That's what we were seeing earlier. These storms came out of Bismarck. These storms do have a little history of some rotation. And as I take a look at the spin factor in this storm here, that's still showing up as a little bit of shear in the storm right here as it moves towards Ashley and Zeeland. It's in no man's land as far as a long ways between radars, but it's also kind of in rural country. But if you do happen to be out here, seek shelter. And if you happen to be camping at any of the beautiful lakes down here, in south central parts of North Dakota, please beware. That storm is very strong, very large hail, some gusty wind on the order of 60 to 70 miles per hour possible. Hail 1.25 inches, and it is showing some signs of rotation still, as you can see here by the greens next to the reds. So that is the main event in town. As we take a look, there is some greens next to reds here in and around the Fort Ransom area, but look at this. The brightest reds are next to weaker greens, and the brighter greens are here. So if the bright greens and the bright reds were more next to each other, then that would be a little bit more alarming. But it just shows you that the environment tonight has some weak spin, and they are out. Those storms are out there. Dickie, you have some cells near you that have a little bit of weak shear as well. Out to the east of west rather of Litchville, They're still showing up a little bit of shear in these storms. Now, what's moving into the FM area? For that, I'll move the radar over to the Mayville one, and then I am going to take a break. I'm going to look at okay, here's a look at the latest radar data. It's got some bad data there. I'm going to look at another radar. I'm seeing some shear in the Lisbon area, some spin in the Lisbon area. Shear marker looks pretty strong south of Lisbon. If you're in the Lisbon area and points south, that storm's moving off to the east-northeast. There was a hail marker on it earlier, and it looks like there's some spin picking up in that one a little bit. So it would not be a bad idea if you're in and around Lisbon on the south side of town here, right in this area, that you seek shelter in that interior room, stay away from windows. Is it moving in the general direction of you folks in Lisbon? Here are the markers with the individual cells being tracked by the Doppler radar in Mayville. There's a hail marker there. Couple of shear markers. Don't let these spinning icons really trouble you. There's the environment tonight has some weak shear in it. This is a weaker shear. This is a little bit stronger spin in the hole that's in the middle of those storms there. So what I'm doing is trying to see what the radar says these are moving. Low level rotation. Okay, so there is some spin in the storm that's north of Lemoore as well. And when I go ahead and take a look at the storm relative velocity in and around Lemoore, we've got blue outlines now for these counties from the National Weather Service's office in Bismarck and in Grand Forks. So they're working together looking at these storms, and at the same time they issued these advisories. This is what the Weather Service says. This special weather statement says these storms are moving east at 20 miles per hour, half-inch hail, 55-mile-per-hour gusts. They'll be near Lisbon, Enderlin, Litchfield, Fort Ransom, and Fingal in the upcoming little bit. So again, these storms continue to work their way through. Now, if I do look at what's going on, okay. So from the Aberdeen radar, I'm just trying to verify whether that spin is still there or real or not. There is a little bit showing up by 3 radars, not 2, in and around the Lisbon to Milner area. There's some more spin in that hole that we talked about near the Lemoore area. Motion away from the radar and toward right here and back in here. So a couple of areas of shear. This is where we have the south edge of the storm, the south winds feeding into it, and outflow boundaries on the other side intermingling with the storm. Avs Hockey Man, wonder if advertisers realize that I'm not buying. Thank you very much, Avs Hockey Fan. I appreciate that. I think there's a switch I can use to turn off some of that stuff, and I should have done that. So blame me. I'm very sorry for that. Let's go ahead and talk a bit, though, about the big area of blue from Jamestown all the way south of Fargo here, and it does include the Enderlin area. These storms do have some, we have some winds coming into the radar and out of the radar, and there is some shear. It's pretty broad. It's elongated as well, which would indicate more of a line of storms rather than a sharp area of rotation. And it's not particularly strong near Verona. There is a little bit as well, but let's all just keep in mind that the environment is still a little bit on the spinny side as these storms are working their way off. These markers saying the storms are moving their way east at 20 miles per hour. That's what the Weather Service has said. And I believe that makes a lot of sense, maybe 20 to 25 miles per hour as we take a look at the radar data. Here is what Hutch sees. The threat for the Fargo area is for, well, we do have some thunder and lightning starting to pick up. Thanks, Sunny Boy 76. What about Grand Forks? So I've mentioned this a couple times. I know that some of you are just checking in, but the storms in and around Grand Forks have really diminished in intensity as they've gone through. So I just want to point out that up in and around Grand Forks, well, let me see here. Let's go to the Mayville radar. It'll take just a second. It'll be a little bit closer. So now you can see better that at ground level here, we got some good old-fashioned showers of rain. Let's step up at elevation angle and see if upper levels of the clouds have anything more going on in them. Oh, nope. Over Grand Forks, we've got garden variety heavy rain showers. Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, a little bit of lightning heading towards Red Lake Falls, Polk County on the Beltrami area, Fertile area, all the way out and towards Foston. Those areas, garden variety showers, the risk of severe, very, very low. The risk of severe is low. It's not zero in the Fargo-Moorhead area. Remembering that the energy in the atmosphere is a lot lower here. However, sometimes storms that have punch can kind of roll like a tire down the hill and continue on if they have the right inflow. There is some stout thunderstorm activity moving into western parts of Richland County now. The Wyndmere area showing that we do have some heavy rain. The hail potential between Wyndmere and Lidgerwood is there. And by there, I mean maybe 1 inch in diameter from the hail markers that I've been seeing. A couple of them half inch, 1 inch, 1.25. Severe probability from this cell here looks to be about 70%. So the Lidgerwood cell that you see here is the biggest thunderstorm cell with hail in it, working its way off to the east at about 20 miles per hour. Mantador, Barney, and areas near Lidgerwood will have the best chance at seeing some of that hail, not far from Cayuga. Okay, as we look off to the west here, the activity that's in Lemoore County and Dickey County here, really starting to, Dickey County start to wind down considerably, and that's good news. In Lemoore County, this big hole in the storm right here, it's kind of an interesting thing to see out there, and there was a marker there that had some shear in it earlier. Let's see if that's still there, showing some deep spin or shear in that, and it is still showing that oh, it's weakened. So the spin in the atmosphere weakening a bit there. That's good news. And moving off to the east at a general rate of about 20 miles per hour. Moving into Fort Ransom, a lot of folks camping there. If you are, the cells are not severe right now. This little pink here doesn't alarm me. Some small hail, generally half inch or less possible from that cell as it makes its way through. If you are in Enderlin, you have some heavy rain making its way in, and that's it right now. There's no risk of a big event like last weekend happened. So just to give you a little bit of peace of mind there, that's not heading your way. These storms say they're heading your way, but they have made very little progress. The strongest storms have made very little progress to the north and east tonight. This is making its way eastward. That's what's heading towards Fargo. That's what we will have the best chance of being impacted by. Fort Ransom, a little bit more hail, maybe a little bit larger now, upwards of 3/4 of an inch in diameter, maybe Nichols pushing into the area. How about the wind speeds with these? It's not really good possibility to measure them. I will look at a wind network out here from the ENDON sites and see if they're seeing any winds coming out of these. It's a great tool to help us see what these wind instruments are seeing on the ground. So, oh, that's wind chill. I don't think we need to worry about that right now. Katie, thanks for joining. I always thought blue represented snow, but maybe not. You know what? This color table on this, normally blue is snow on mine, but in this, it's just a highlight of the highest reflectivities using a blue color instead of some radars will use a white. So this one has a blue step in it. I did not make this color table, and I'm learning how to edit it myself. Is it safe to go to Brewer Lake tonight? Meteorologist Tommy Tough Knuckles. Well, I think things are looking a little safer. We do have a few cells with some 1 inch hail markers moving into Wyndmere now. Upwards of 3/4 of an inch diameter hail and some gusty winds. Let me know what you're noticing, Hankinson. There is no severe warning for that, but it's just the hail is going to be the main threat, and some wind gusts to about 45 or 50 miles per hour. I'm not seeing any wind gusts in this area on this particular map here that would indicate that I need to be concerned about the current wind gusts from these cells down here, mainly 30 and 40 miles per hour. Pardon me, when we look at the peak wind gusts, though, we did get some Linton gusts near 50 miles per hour, and this is just what hit at the gauge sites. There's likely under the tornado, obviously, stronger winds going out on a limb there for you. Okay, weatherman Tim should be good, Tommy. Oh, thanks, Tim. I appreciate you helping me out with some of the questions coming in. I'm trying my best. And again, here's another good piece of good news. These cells near the Ashley and Wishick area, I don't want to say they've weakened because I'm looking at a different radar. No, they haven't really weakened all that much. But they do have this motion to the southeast, still towards Ashley. Let me turn the radar on. There we go. Okay, so there's 1-inch hail marker on this one. That's the same thing that is on the marker for the storm moving into the Windermere area. These storms are diminishing in intensity just a little bit as we head into the 1 a.m. time frame right now. Now, as we go ahead and take a look at let's see if my computer works now. Let's look at the cloud tops. Yay, cloud tops work. Maybe I just need to restart the program. This is telling. It's very telling. Cloud tops up near Mayville and up near the Fargo area, a lot lower than the storms that we see down to the south. Here's from the radar in Mayville, and it agrees with the radar in Bismarck that this cell near Foreman is really getting quite strong and tall. This cell, usually when they get this tall, it's a result of some pretty strong updrafts, and we got a 50,000 footer here in this vicinity, just off to the east of Gwinner near try that one more time, Milnor, and heading into Windermere right now. That's that 1-inch hail marker, so we could certainly see some sizable hail from that cell as it works its way slowly across the boundary into Richland County. Other than that, we do have a 45 to 50,000 footer off to the east of you in Lemoore, and what's moving into Enderlin are 45 and 50,000 foot cloud tops. There could be some smaller hail. I do think a couple of these cells might get a little bit bigger than half-inch diameter hail from them as they work their way through a 50,000 footer there on the edge of Lemoore County out here as we look into the Ransom County area as well. So. And then as we look at the big puppy out here near Wishick, that also is a 51,000 footer to 55,000 footer. So that's the big storm that's heading into Ashley and the Wishick area. And that one could still be punching out some robust wind gusts with regards to that. Let me clear that out. There we go. So that's a look at the cloud tops. We do have some heavy rain. Notice the cloud tops making their way anywhere near Fargo, not so high. These are moving to the east and likely east and south, and we'll be heading in the general direction of Breckenridge, Wahpeton, and they're moving at about 20 to 30 miles per hour. So we'll go ahead and time that out for the Wahpeton Breckenridge folks. And then guess what? There's no warnings right now. I know we're going to hear some thunder. I know we're going to hear some lightning in and around the Fargo area, but I'm assuring you that our risk of severe is quite low here in the FM area right now. It looks like Ada getting some thunderstorm activity. Castleton, Arthur moving in on you. There's quite a bit of lightning showing up in northern Cass and southern parts of Trail County, even Steele County as well. That lightning is often associated with some pretty intense thunderstorm activity and updrafts. But in this case, I think it's downdrafts and it's intermingling with the updraft on the front side. So it's causing a little bit more lightning there. Just in Moorhead, storms are here, Ryland says. Oh, how about them apples? I thought I heard something outside, and I see a rumble of thunder that just went off 1.1 minutes ago. Move this over near Harwood. Did your house shake out there south of Gardner? Okay, we do have a cell up here in the Gardner area making its way towards Purley. This is kind of developing out in this particular area. Again, the risk of severe, not huge, but it's not zero. And the strongest cells are on the south side of this and moving east. So I promised I'd time these out for you folks in the Wahpeton area, the Breckenridge area. Here you go, moving off. Let me redo that. I don't know what happened. I think my mouse battery might be giving me fits. Okay, moving at a speed of, I'm going to put 25 to 30 miles per hour. Hankinson by 118, it'll be near you. So that's in about 10 minutes. Not severe. It's just a garden variety thunder shower. However, there are a couple cells in here that could produce nickel-sized hail. At times, they're trying to flash a 1-inch hail marker there as well. I'm ramping up Dilworth. Light rain has started, and the lightning is plentiful. Dusty, thanks for your report. I do appreciate it. Walcott, 138. Abercrombie 145, Christine 149, and Kent by 149 as well. On towards Wahpeton by 150. So 50 minutes away. That's a 2 o'clock in the morning time frame. You'll have to rewind through my coverage and see if I was anywhere close on the timing, but I think so. 1 to 2 a.m. Fargo Moorhead, and that looks to be pretty good. So picking and choosing the model that you believe in is important in meteorology, because no human mind can calculate exactly where a thunderstorm is going to form, and oftentimes how things are going to change and evolve. Computer models are a valuable tool, but they are just that. So when you open an app or you're looking at a forecast model, you need to remember, this is not gospel. This is basically just some guidance that we use, and we pair that with knowledge, experience, and other models to come up with a solution. Stay away from windows, says Tommy Tough Knuckles. Thank you very much. Kimmy Lamb says, is Valley City good? No, no tornadoes. Valley City is good. It does not look like there's going to be a tornado risk that's really huge. All I want to say is that the tornado watch has been allowed to, hold on. We're happy. The tornado watch has expired. The severe thunderstorm watch in South Dakota for the 2 counties continues for this cluster of cells moving out and through the Ashley and Wishick area. So if you're in Loyola, if you're in Eureka, this area is in a tornado watch. Here's what that looks like on this radar. Tornado watch still in effect until 2 in the morning. The tornado watch for us, gone at 1 o'clock in the morning. That expired. So this is in effect until 2 a.m. for South Dakota for these cells moving out of south central North Dakota. These are moving off to the east, northeast. These are moving off to the east. All this activity is slowly going to work its way east. I do believe the risk of severe is going down. Are we watching the same stream? I don't know. I don't know who you're talking to there, Mr. Tough Knuckles, but I'm not watching the stream. Go Lily, whoosh. Yeah, I'm excited about this. Go to bed, Wahpeton. Oh, can I go to bed in Wahpeton? Jasmine, I hear you. There's a pretty good cluster of thunderstorms now. Some of the strongest cells are down here near Wahpeton. As far as the tornado risk goes, we haven't had a tornado warning for a while. There's still some spin in the atmosphere, though. The strongest cell on the radar right now is near Windermere and Mantador and Hankinson, and it's moving east at about 20 miles per hour. So if you happen to be along this line of the blue flashing stuff you see here, and it's moving east at about 20 miles per hour, this line of small hail, and I say that lightly, hail that could be 1/2 inch to 1 inch in diameter, smaller than severe, is going to be near Hankinson very soon, Barney very soon, Great Bend at 11:30, Morton at 11:33, and Dwight by around 11:48. Wahpeton by around 2 a.m., Breckenridge by around 2 a.m. So you can go to bed. The risk of severe is pretty low. Do you have a way of monitoring whether or not the storms go severe? I'll be here. 0 hail in Windermere. Thank you. That's good to know. 0 hail in Windermere. That's wonderful to know. Now what I can do is erase this nonsense and look over at Windermere and see what we got. So this little red or pink dot that we see flashing over here in blue with the hail threat and that hail marker at cloud level, that's pretty high at the radar beam height. So it's detecting hail at cloud level, doesn't always make its way down to the ground. For me, I'm happy about that. Lisbon, you got more storms making their way in towards your area. So if you're out at Fort Ransom, cell working its way through your area, I don't see Elliott, Lisbon, anything with any significant hail risk on this particular scan. That storm's moving towards Montpelier. Right here, this cell here is moving towards Montpelier, and we'll be there by about 12:54. But if we look out towards Montpelier right now, we see that there's already rain, and it's been a pretty busy night there. So all in all, this line of storms is kind of knifing its way eastward, moving in toward the Traverse County area, Wilkin County. You're all going to see a chance of storms. This will impact western parts of Otter Tail County. I do not think I do not think that the risk of severe is going to blow up with the energy in the atmosphere being so low. So let me catch up on a little bit of information and see if I'm what I'm feeling is and seeing is being confirmed. Letting the tornado watch expire, says Bismarck, and says Grand Forks. And so that is good. Now when I look at the folks, the Storm Prediction Center can be a really good resource for, hey, we're going to have a discussion on what's going on right now out here from the Storm Prediction Center. So sometimes they have, great information. Okay, let me type it out. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see. Just reviewing some. Their page is just changed, so I'm not going there. All right, I've got some issues going on with the government website there. New updated images. Let me see if I've got anything for you there. We do have a couple of storms working their way through. Okay, nothing new there either. This is all good news, folks. The storms continue to work their way into the southern Red River Valley now, as well as the northern Red River Valley into northwest Minnesota. They're not severe up near Grand Forks and Roseau County and Lake of the Woods County. That's the good news as we look down here in parts of the Red River Valley on the south side. The strongest cell working its way toward the Hankinson area, showing some weak hail signs, or at least the potential thereof. And that is about it. We do have a strong thunderstorm out here in the Hankinson area, moving towards Wahpeton, Breckenridge. But as far as strong goes, it's weak compared to what we've been seeing earlier this evening. When I do take a look at the spin in the atmosphere, most of these storms are kind of decreasing that risk as well. I'm hearing some loud rumble. Oh, that was somebody starting a loud rumbly car. Not lightning. So it's when you start hearing things. Okay, so here is a look. The active thunderstorm warning, at least it looks like, has been allowed to expire. It says it expires in 29 minutes. Both my computers have different things going on right now. I'm just trying to confirm. The thunderstorm warning for the Ashley area is in effect until 1:45. But this monitor here shows that it is gone. So I'll have to go see what the Weather Service is doing here to verify what it is I'm seeing. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that warning is still up on the National Weather Service page. So, very good, Ryland. Howdy, Weatherman Tim. I like the cowboy hat on there. Sunflower seeds and giants. Oh yeah, those are good ones. I love those. How about those dill flavored ones? Those are good. So this cell here near Ashley, it does look like it's decreasing in intensity a little bit. The National Weather Service still has a thunderstorm warning on their website, but it's disappeared off my software here. We do have some spin and shear in the environment. I'm looking at this Wishick-Ashley storm, and it doesn't look to be as organized right now. That's the good news. A lot of weird looking reds and greens next to each other with our atmosphere just full of outflow boundaries from a line of storms moving in from the northwest, along with these that were moving east, and they're all kind of clashing in different areas, producing all these colors. Just because we see greens and reds next to each other does not mean we have a tornado on the ground here in this case. And in fact, it's all pretty muddled and unorganized at this particular time with regards to what we're seeing there. Now, when I pull the radar out from the Mayville area here one more time, I said one more time about an hour and a half ago, I can tell you we do have, well, there it goes. The latest showing the cells working their way east towards Fargo, northern Cass, seeing the storms. We are getting some showers being reported by you. So thank you for all of that. I appreciate that. And now let's take a look. There you go. Look at all the lightning going on up here on the backside of the storm system here near Valley City, and very little in the way of rain falling out of the storm going on there. So that must be pretty interesting to see out there with what I wouldn't call them clear skies. There's still storms over you, but they're dropping lightning bolts out of the backside of them there. They could be quite strong. So 1.7 minutes ago, we had ourselves a Valley City lightning strike, or 2 or 3. So it's pretty noisy in Valley City. And in Valley City, the strongest of the storms are to your south and look to stay there moving east. Castleton, you have some shower and thunderstorm activity blossoming there. Let's see if I can open up this fun view. Still waiting on it. Okay, look at this. All right, so this is a look with isobars on it. Let me see if I can control my isobars. Pardon me. I'm going to do... There we go. Okay, so what I did is I'm plotting isobars every 1 millibar and change in pressure now. So now we can kind of see where things are. We do have an area of lower pressure out here near the Bismarck area stapled on there. And what we're seeing here is some south winds being advected up into the Mobridge area. And then on the back side of this, we do have some north winds out towards Belle-Fourche. A bigger area of low pressure out near Lusk. And this area right here is producing our south winds, feeding this humid air into this cell. So this might be the mesoscale or smaller scale low pressure or upper level system here working its way through that's supporting some of this flow into this storm right now. So that's what's going to maintain this thing as long as this area of lower pressure is here. And if it maintains that lower pressure, that will help feed a strong inflow into these cells and continue them marching east like some of the models had. So looking at this, I'm seeing that we're not getting terribly strong winds with it. And the good news is the lift is not as strong as it was earlier. All the way down towards Sioux City, we have a line of storms working its way through that particular area. A severe thunderstorm warning for gusty winds to 80 miles per hour. A particularly dangerous situation? It says no, it is not. It is not a particularly dangerous situation, but isolated places along that path could see winds. We're seeing nothing like that tonight with regard to the wind gusts around here. We did have a number of tornadoes in the Bismarck area. We have a line of garden variety showers and thunderstorms making the way into the FM area right now. Is it severe? Do you need to worry about it right now? No. If it becomes severe, guess who will be back? Me. But for now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. As we take a look at the movement of this activity right now, I anticipate it will continue its movement to the east. As we approach the 2 to 3 o'clock hour, it will be working its way through Otter Tail County. Possibly southern parts of Becker County could be impacted by some of the showers and some of the thunderstorms. And then most models had this working its way along the I-94 corridor and point south. I will take one more look at this model here with you. Not this model. This one has not been very good guidance for me tonight. But I am going to go to this. Let me see what. It's the one I really liked, but if you can see the motion, it's going to be somewhat along this boundary here that works its way to the south and east as we go through the wee hours of the morning. There's 2 a.m. I do believe I'm hearing rumbles of thunder. Slunky P, thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate I'm your go-to. Thank you for watching. Thanks for supporting Hutch's Weather. I'll be back. These storms are going to glide down the I-94 corridor, the Highway 10 corridor. My guess, Hutch will be still on because his lunch break was supposed to be, no, not 20 minutes ago. I ordered pizza hours ago. Hours ago. I like cold pizza. All right. These storms are going to head to the south and to the east, and they will continue to work their way into Lakes Country. If anything becomes severe, Hutch will let you know about it. Stay informed tonight. If you're camping out in Lakes Country, the gusts have not, for a long time in our area of eastern North Dakota, been too strong, so we don't have as much of a concern of that tonight. Some or the main concern tonight will be gusty winds 40 to maybe 50 miles per hour and a few areas of hail, nickel-sized or smaller, and that's the way it looks to old Hutcherooski here. Low pressure system behind this is probably going to cause a little bit of some wind on the backside of this. There could be some storms associated with this low pressure that develop and make their way into southern Minnesota, but I do think this threat's moving into Minnesota, but the risk of severe remains low. Otterdale County, shout out to the OTC. You know them otters, utterly ridiculous. It's great to be in Otterdale County now, isn't it? Because it's beautiful weather. And now we do have another risk of severe weather for tomorrow. While I got you here, because I don't want to stay up all night redoing graphics and updates for tomorrow, here is the risk of severe weather for tomorrow. Whoops. Doggone it, it is tomorrow. Hutch, it's now today. Why does this have to be so confusing? All right, here you go. So now as we take a look at the risk for today, Southern Valley, South Dakota, Twin Cities, Lakes Country, slight risk of severe weather. As we take a closer look, Fergus Falls, Ottertail, Grant County, Morris Benson area, all the way down to Montevideo, Lacaparo County, all the way to the Twin Cities, St. Cloud, Brainerd Lakes area. That's where the risk will be tomorrow. What are the threats? Well, as we take a peek at this, the tornado threat tomorrow, if we take a look, this will be interesting because this was just put out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the probability of a tornado. Same as today, what we had here, only it's shifted off into Minnesota. Brainerd Lakes, Ottertail County, Grant, Douglas counties, all the way out towards Traverse, Big Stone counties, and the I-29 corridor of South Dakota, 2% risk of tornadoes. That's where the risk is. Fargo, Moorhead, I think that we may see a storm-free day here. I think areas north of there will be a storm-free day based on some of the models that I was seeing. So that's the tornado threat for your afternoon later today on Saturday. Is it Saturday? Yes. Probability of hail. That looks like a big old slug sitting there all the way from the Rapid City area and Sioux Falls right through Minneapolis, St. Paul. Now let's see if it's a severe risk or significant hail threat. Yes. So the storm that impacted Bismarck today, that same energy will be in the atmosphere tomorrow for some, what the Weather Service today said was giant hail, and it panned out to be giant hail with baseballs in and around the Bismarck area, not once, but twice, working its way through. As we take a look, is the wind threat significant? It is not. There is a wind threat, but it's going to match the severe weather threat. So here's the probability of wind. And then as we look at the tornado probability one more time, let's take a look at the risk of significant tornado. No. So what does that mean? A risk of all modes of severe weather from South Dakota into southern Minnesota for your day today on Saturday in the afternoon through the evening. Tonight, storms, I don't anticipate widespread severe, but I would not be surprised if we have a rumble of a severe thunderstorm or two tonight. And I'll keep my eyes on the skies. I know it's dark out there, but I'll keep my eyes on the radar too, and that should be helpful. For now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. What's that? Bring, what's calling? Hutch's Pizza is calling. Have a good evening. I'll keep you up to date. Wahpeton, Breckenridge, thunderstorms moving through, non-severe right now, and here we go. Until next time, stay tuned, stay safe, follow on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, but most importantly, have an awesome evening.